What's happening, my Nick family? What's going on? Hey, man, listen, we here. We here. Man, it's a tough loss last night. You know, you got a Kimba homecoming, got a bunch of Nick podcasters and Nick community people in the building getting together, hoping to see a really nice game. The camaraderie was going well. Everything was feeling good that first quarter. Everything felt great. Man, only to fall in the end, and just really keep the whole bench starter conversation going for another day. I don't know. I don't know. I hope we can get through this, guys. I think we will. It's a long season still, but I don't know. We'll get into it right after this. What can we say, guys? What can we say? Just another one of those things, man. Our Nick team doesn't do anything easy. They make it really tough on us as fans. They make it tough on themselves, actually. Like I'm really surprised that all the games we've already witnessed and seen the poor play from our starters. To watch it continue. Sorry, move this mouse pad. All right. To watch it continue and to see that it seems like it's getting worse. It's not a good sign. It doesn't feel good as a Knick fan this morning. I hope you guys are enjoying your Saturday mornings. Otherwise, I hope family is good. I hope you have some nice plans for today. The weather's starting to get a little cooler again, but it's sunny outside. You know, it's still a beautiful day. We have everything to be thankful for. These Knicks are just making it a little tougher to wake up and with a smile on our faces. Drink this coffee. Maybe it'll make me feel better. Oh, man. Where do we start? Well, New York Knicks. Oh, sorry. Hold on. My apologies, guys. Oh, man. And two of these. Lose. There you go. Now we're cooking with gas. New York Knicks lose to the Charlotte Hornets, 104-96. You see, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Even my banner was set up for a win. I'm disturbed. I'm so disturbed. I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, you know what? Let me do this first. Let me give a special shout out and salute to the chat. Thank you guys for joining me this morning. We got a couple people in the chat right now. John from Still Knick Fans. This guy's really good. There's something about him I like. I can't really put my finger on it. What's up, bro? John said Knicks failed miserably on their litmus test against the Hornets. Yes, they did, my friend. Yes, they did. I agree with you on that. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know, bro. I don't know. We're gonna have a lot to talk about on the next show we got, right? I don't know. Pudge, nice. Salute. Good to see you, brother. Oh, our main man, Feet Sports. This is on Tibbs. Yeah. Feet Sports is a friend of the show, but you know, he's an objective fan. He's been on our show a couple times. We call him the Prophet. That's right. I put you out there. You ain't gonna get no anonymous, chat stuff going on. Everybody needs to know who you are, brother. Okay. All right, Prophet. He has to let that bench finish the game to completion. Well, I think you're right, man. I think you're right. I think there's a lot of issues that's going on with the way Tibbs is doing things right now. I'm not the biggest fan at Tibbs at this moment. I think there's some changes he needs to make. I think a lot of people in the Knicks community would agree. He's been doing some things that are really questionable, and the bad part about it is it's created such a disparity between two whole teams, the whole starting lineup and the whole bench. And I don't know. This is like the worst case scenario. I did not want to see something like this where it's our starters are being outplayed by our bench. So now we got to make a decision as to what to do in order to win games. This is like the worst outcome, but it's definitely there. We got a new subscriber, new member, Hooked on Heat, Miami Heat's podcast. Let's go. Oh, man, look at that. Little Heat action in the building. Okay. Salute to you. I know who he is, so, take it easy, man. He's a youngin', all right? He's getting into this game, so, let him rock, y'all. He's a youngin', so, and he's also family kind of, so watch it. Yeah, John agrees with Feet Sports. Yeah. Hooked on Heat. We ready? Okay, all right. Let's get started. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're going through. All right, Leo Lambert, what's good? Salute. Thank you for joining in. He says we need to start holding these leads. I agree. Definitely the way the game's being managed by Tibbs and by the starters, because you know what? The starters are the starters for a reason. They're supposed to get us going, get us out to a good start. They're supposed to set the emphasis for the game. The bench comes in, it's only to continue what the starters have been doing. And none of it's been going right. Let's see, Feet Sports is very mad at Tibbs. Salute. What up, DSJ? Good to see you, brother. He said, well, looks like the best thing that happened for us is also the worst thing that happened to us. I mean, I can't argue with you. Listen, this is, I don't know, man. I don't know. We're gonna break it down as much as we can, man. Pudge, yes, sir. He's got to make an adjustment. I agree with that. Pudge, hate to say it, but I told Knicks fans. Yeah, man. Look, these are the type of things we have to deal with, okay? We've overcome worse in the past. This team has been a laughingstock in for many years. Now we finally got something going. We got something cooking. Just got to figure out how to get back to where it was, man. And you've seen spurts. You've seen different moments where the Knicks still show that they're that Knicks team. They just can't sustain anything. It's just poor play for too many stretches in the games, and it's come back to hurt us. He's got to give the bench more trust. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think he's definitely got to give the bench, more trust and leave them in. Well, I agree with that too, to a certain extent. Obviously, common sense, guys. If the bench comes in early in the third quarter and we're trailing, and they help to bring us back into the game, right? And they're getting close, but they still look like they're kind of energized, and you go with them into the fourth quarter and you're playing the bench, at some point that they're gonna lose some of that energy down, because that's a long period of time to play any unit out there, and that's playing hard and efficient and probably coming back from a deficit. So I think what Feet Sports is trying to say, and what some of us Knicks fans are looking at, is that the bench needs to be incorporated into the rotation a lot better, a lot quicker, a lot sooner. When a team starts to develop a lead on us, if it's getting out of hand, 6 points, 8 points, maybe that's not the right number. But if we're going down 10 or 12 points, at that point, maybe we already need to get the bench in there. And I don't know exactly when Tibbs has been doing it. Maybe he's been doing it around that point. And if that's the case, I'm wrong. Then it needs to happen even sooner. Then you got to get the bench in there, at 8 points maybe, because there's trends happening right now. Until the starters can get it together, then you gotta have a quick string with the starters. And the bench definitely need to be playing, more minutes, but used effectively. One of the things that we might be able to do is, which is drastic, it shows something when you do that, but it sends a message to your team as well. Sometimes we've seen in the past where coaches will come out with the starters to start the game, bring the bench in, right? Go into the halftime, come out with the bench to start the half. Knicks may need to do that, because obviously we're getting off to bad starts, right? And not all the time, because we have got off, and actually it's been the flip mode. We've got off to good starts, and then as we get closer to the second half or what have you, we start to lose the lead. I mean, so I don't know exactly what's going on. I don't know. Do they trail off because they're tired? Do they not have the energy to sustain what they were doing earlier? I don't know. But there definitely needs to be a change in that. And if that's the case, then I would think about doing that. I would think about having the starters out there. If things are going well, you leave them in. Let them rock out for a good amount of time. Maybe not let them play the whole first quarter. Maybe don't decide to start bringing in your bench in the last seconds of the first quarter. Maybe bring your bench in when there's like 3 minutes left in the first quarter, so that your starters aren't playing as many minutes consecutively. Maybe we got to do that. Maybe we got to space out the starters' minutes so they're not playing as much consecutively. I don't know, but that's what I would try to do that. And like I said, if things are still playing out this way, then I'd come back in the second half with the bench. Don't start the starters. Let the bench see, how things should be done. Let the starters see how things should be done by having the bench out there, creating that momentum that they've been good at. They've been generating a lot of good momentum, good play, good defense, good effort, hustle. They've been explosive. They've been running up and down the court. The bench has just been giving us everything lately. This is the bench that we thought we had coming into the season. This is why we said we were one of the deepest teams in the league. We did not expect our starters to be playing this way. And I still, as much as we see, our eye test shows us that the starters are really struggling. We see that, but I don't think the starting unit is bad. I think the starting unit may just be a bad combination of starters. Maybe, you make one change from the starting unit, take one person out and move that person to the bench mob, and put somebody else from the bench mob in the starting lineup, and that will be what we need. People have been thinking, who can that be? Some people have been saying maybe it's Deuce. Deuce hasn't played. We don't know what Deuce is right now, so that it can't be Deuce. Maybe it's Rose. We've seen Rose do some things, and inserting him into the starting lineup might give the starting lineup a different look, a different boost that they haven't had. But we've seen that because Kemba was out for one game due to rest, and we saw Rose in the starting lineup. That game was against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we wound up losing that game. There was a lot of mismatches on the court, but we still lost the game. And so I don't know if that's it either. And plus, I like the way Rose plays with that second unit. I just feel like on that second unit, Rose is the man. You know what I mean? When we need buckets, we need somebody to kind of slow things down. If things are getting crazy, when the defense is coming at us, Rose can get a shot no matter what. And the fact that he's shooting well from the outside makes it even better. So I think, and this is what I was hoping to say since the beginning of the season, just he started off playing bad. I think if you're going to make a change at the point guard spot, it would be Quickly. I think Quickly should be inserted into the starting lineup. I've been thinking about it for the past 5 games. I was just hoping that he started to play better, and he has. And then that Milwaukee game, we got to see his defensive effort and how he was locking down on guys and pushing up on them like half court and pressing them. That showed me a lot about Quickly's effort. And he's faster than Kemba. So I just like the fact he's younger and you know, he doesn't hurt you on offense as long as he's taking good shots. You know, we've seen how explosive he is when he starts to get going with his shot. And he's not a bad facilitator. He's not any worse than Kemba. So I'm saying Quickly needs to be injected into the starting lineup. You move Kemba to the bench, Mob. You know what? Rose still comes in first. Kemba can come in after Rose, or maybe Kemba and Rose can play together at certain spurts. Not too long, because the defense on that will be pretty suspect. But I think that's where we need to go. So my suggestion is to put Quickly in the starting lineup with that group and see if he can get them going in a different, you know, he can push the pace and get them moving. Because, you know, you have to, if he's your point guard and he's running up and down the court, you're going to have to run. You want the ball? You better get up there. So that's what I think they should do. That's the first thing. There's more to come, but let me get back into the chat real quick. Pudge Nice, Leon will be making moves. Yeah, that's coming. That's coming. I think I'm not saying it's going to be anything drastic, but I definitely know they're looking. They just it's like this is bad, man. When you got a whole bunch of Knicks fans circling a date on the calendar, like, oh, December 15th, like, oh, everything's going to change December 15th. We don't know that, but we do know they'll have more flexibility to make moves December 15th. But who knows what's going to happen? The numbers say it. Yeah. The numbers do say it. Can't lie. I mean, we see we're gonna look at the numbers in a bit. Tibbs doesn't even want to play them starters. Listen, you know, these are your guys, man. These are the guys you're paying money to. These are the same guys that helped you win 41 games last year. Same guys you relied and depended on last year. You know, if it wasn't for Julius Randle, where would this team be last year? So I'm not throwing the starters away, man. We need the starters. You know, you're only going to go as far as your starters, you know, because they are your starters for a reason. There's a reason why they're the starters and your bench is the bench. Okay. If you reverse things around, when these guys go up against tough competition night in and night out, they're going to get exposed because maybe they're not, you know, ready yet NBA wise, or maybe some of them, the skill set is not there to go against, you know, starting professional players in the NBA on a night in and night out basis. There's a reason why they're the bench. I'm not saying like some of these guys can't be elevated. That might be the case, but you build a team, you get your best players that you can put together. They become your starters. You get other pieces that can help, you know, keep the team going and figure out a style of play you want to keep so they can sustain that. That's your bench. That's, you know, let's not get crazy, guys. The bench is the bench. The starters is the starters. Our problem is we got to get these starters playing better. And that may mean that we need to make a couple changes or a change or two here to help facilitate that. Maybe some of these guys are being put in positions where now they've been told to do this. You got to be the man here. You got to do this. We want you to play better defense. We want you to guard the perimeter. We also want you to get your buckets. Maybe it's just a little bit much for people right now. They're still learning their ways. Like RJ is going through some changes. We've seen RJ play really good defensive basketball early on. He was struggling with a shot. Then he was lights out. He got his shot together, and we were like, uh-oh, is RJ the man? Look how quick the narrative changes, guys. Remember that? It was not too long ago. It's like 4 or 5 games ago. People were talking about maybe the offense should be run through RJ. Maybe RJ should be the number one option. You guys remember that? Look at the last 3 games that RJ's been out there playing. Hasn't been that great, and last night was abysmal. This is going to happen. There's a lot of ups and downs in the NBA season. There's a lot of stuff going on with this team that needs to be addressed. I'm not going to say they're little things. I think they're big things, because you might be talking about changes in the rotation, and sometimes that can affect players really negatively. If you're not strong-minded, being moved from one spot to another spot can mess with your head, mess with your game, and then we got a problem. The other thing is we might need personnel changes. We know there's like things that need to be done, and Tibbs might have to look at his overall coaching philosophy, because what worked last year may not necessarily work this year. You got different personnel, and maybe some of your players are not as effective this year because of that personnel. So certain things you weren't thinking about. For example, Julius Randle's closeout defense on the perimeter. Last year it wasn't that bad. He was okay. His defense in the paint was great, but on the perimeter it wasn't that great. But you didn't see that much of it because you had other guys like Bullock and Payton out there covering up for that, because they were so good at team defense on the perimeter. Now when you don't have that, Julius is asked to do a lot more, and you're seeing the holes in Julius's game. You're seeing that he doesn't hustle all the time. Sometimes he takes plays off. We're seeing that he pouts or gets upset or frustrated. And people are all pointing fingers trying to figure out, well, does Julius like not being the man? Is Julius okay with sharing the ball? Does Julius feel like, this is his team and everything needs to go through him? We don't know. We don't know anything. I mean, it's all speculative. And you guys who say those takes and have those points, you could be right. You also could be wrong. Maybe Julius is just the type that he's that guy. He pouts, he gets upset, he gets frustrated, and his emotions, he wears it on his face. Julius is one of those guys that still, to this day, doesn't get a lot of calls. And maybe it's because of part of his attitude and his mentality that he's so aggressive with the refs. He goes at them. He's always complaining and whining about calls. And maybe for that reason, they don't give him calls. Maybe the book is out on Julius. Listen, he's always going to whine no matter what's going on. And they're like, oh, if we see it, we see it. We don't, we're not listening. I mean, who knows? I think Julius is a team player. I think Julius wants to win. I think Julius knows, he's been on different teams. He knows that you got to win as a team, and he can't do it by himself. And he got humbled by the playoffs last year with Atlanta. If that didn't happen, then we might have a whole different argument here. Then we might say, well, maybe Julius is this way. But he got humbled last year. Let's not forget that, guys. He saw what it was. He saw how it is when he's the man, and teams know he's the man. They focus on him, and now no one else can do anything. He saw it. So I'm going to give him a pass for that. I don't think that's the case. I think he's just that type of player that he complains a lot. So, thank you, Pudge. Interesting question. Did we pay Randle too early? Is the pressure of being a franchise player too much for him? I don't know, DSJ. That's a good question, man. It's tough because I don't know. I mean, who knows? I don't know if I think it's okay that we paid him because he was one of those guys that wanted to be here, and you got to reward people who have showed loyalty, who want to be in New York Knicks, because it's, for all these years, it's been so hard to get people to be interested in the Knicks again, to try to turn this whole franchise and culture around. And then when you finally get some players that come in and buy into the system and represent New York on their chest and on their back, whatever, you want these guys to feel like that didn't go for nothing. And Julius, not only did he come here with the right mentality since day one, he said, he wanted to be a part of this Knicks team. He wanted to get us back to something special. He's been saying it since day one. And then last year he showed it with his play. And it's hard not to reward a guy who is in his contract year and has played well for you. He was most improved player in the league, in the NBA. You know what I mean? It's not like he was the most improved player on the Knicks. It was for the whole NBA, so that means he was right there with the rest of these guys. He averaged a double-double, and he averaged about 5 or 6 assists. That's a team player right there, if you ask me. And he was good defensively in the paint, and his help defense was solid. So you look at that guy and you say, this guy is giving us everything we expect and more. How can you not reward him? And we still got a discount. I mean, because he could have got a little bit more, from somewhere else, maybe. I don't know. That's a tough one, man. But I hear you because things look a little different. But it's still early, so maybe things will turn around, and we'll say, okay, well, maybe those thoughts were just premature. Maybe now that everything's right, Julius is good. So we'll see. Momentum in sports is fleeting. When you have it, you should stay with it. I agree with that, Feet Sports. That's true. That's true. It's hard. It's hard to keep momentum going, especially in today's NBA. DSJ says, is RJ Barrett better suited playing the shooting guard as opposed to the small forward? Yes, I think he is. I think that's one switch that should be made automatically to me. I think if you decide not to switch up Fournier from the starters and you want to keep him in the starting lineup, then I think you definitely should be switching RJ with Fournier. I think that should have happened already. I think RJ is just more comfortable at the shooting guard position. It gives him an advantage, especially now that he's a little taller. It helps him. The point here is we need RJ for his defense because we are lacking in the perimeter. But him at shooting guard still gives us that perimeter defense. He's still guarding somebody on the perimeter. I just think it helps him personally because now he gets some advantages on offense, and he can do a little bit more and feel comfortable out there. When he's going up against these small forwards who are just as tall as him or even taller, we've seen that he struggled. He struggled a little bit with Dean Wade from the Cavaliers. Dean Wade is like 6'9", or maybe 6'10", 6'9", around there. And that was tough for RJ. RJ got his shot blocked twice by him, I believe. I definitely know he punched it once against the boards. So yeah, I would definitely do that. Feet Sports agrees. Thank you for the sub. Appreciate you. Thank you once again, Hooked on Heat. Feet Sports says, John and Ron, why not take Mitch and Kemba out and slot IQ and Obi? Interesting question. I don't know, man, because the thing about this is I agree with taking Mitch out of the starting lineup. I've been saying it, but I agree taking him out and putting Noel in there. I think we saw this Knicks team played its best basketball when Noel was the starter. Noel's not healthy right now, so we can't do it. But I want Mitch to go to the second unit. I think Mitch will play better with the second unit. He can still play starter-type minutes, but I want Noel running out there with the starters. I think he gives them more. He's very active on defense. He's very active. He does a lot out there. You guys may not see it all the time because maybe you're focusing on the offense. You're looking at Julius and RJ, what they're doing out there. But Noel is very active on defense. It's not just about blocks. Noel, if you look at Noel's lines, you look at his games, notice how he gets you 2, 3, sometimes even 4 steals on a night from the center position. Noel's very active out there. So I would say, yeah, I'm okay with that. And as far as moving Kemba out, yeah, I agree. I'll move Kemba out and I'll put IQ right in there. I don't want Obi starting right now because I want Obi to be able to come in with that bench mob and get us going. Like Obi is the key. It's not just Rose. We say Rose is the leader of the bench, but it's Obi's aggressiveness, his energy, his speed, his athleticism. That's the key to that bench mob. I think that's the key, because Quickly can do whatever he's doing out there, right? The way he's kind of sort of breaking down the defense a little bit, and he's getting his shot, and he's finding the people. He's throwing those alley-oops to Obi. You know, Obi is the key, right? So that's what I want you guys to be mindful of. Would he look good in the starting lineup? Yeah, but in the starting lineup, now you got other offensive weapons that the ball has to go through, or they're going to be in part of the offense. When you're running with the bench mob, Rose is okay with letting the guys run around, get theirs. Rose will get his when he needs to get his. So really, when you think about the bench, nobody's concerned about scoring. They just score if they get the opportunity. On the starters, you got guys who are used to getting buckets. It's a different story. That's why I think Obi will get hurt if you put him in the starting lineup with Randall, with RJ, with Fournier, and then if you got IQ out there, that ball, it's got too many places to go. So while I like it, I think we might be a better starting unit. I just think it throws off some of our balance with the team. I still think you're right, Feet Sports. We do need to make a couple changes. Maybe just Quickly might be enough. Maybe. We'll see. Well, I say we'll see. I'm just going to do something. Jokes on Saturday morning. I'm sorry, guys. Randall at 5, Obi at 4, Fournier at 3. Barrett at 3, Fournier at 2, and Quickly at 1. Yeah, I mean, I see how it will work. It's a small ball lineup that could be effective. I see it. I just, like I said, I worry more about what that second unit becomes. So then what we do is, this is my mindset. When you have a starting unit that's not playing well and a bench unit that's playing like one of the best in the NBA, if I look at these two units, I say, you know what? I need something in the middle. So I got to mix and match these two units to get me a concise full team. Like, I want my starters to be effective, and I want my bench to remain effective. You might have to take something from them, but I want to keep that overall thing intact. I don't want to have one stronger than, like, if we go, then what do we become? The starters become this efficient, effective unit. Then when you if you get out to a lead, you bring the bench in, we lose the lead. So then the starters have to do what the bench has been doing. I want somewhere in between. Let's mix it and match it to the point where we get both those units having the right pieces, so we can play a clean, full basketball game, 48 minutes. That's what I want. So I'm with you, but I want to see it, together, like both, not just one unit being better than the other still. Salute Geraldine McIver. Good to see you. Always a pleasure. Thank you. Well, tell us what you really think, Feet Sports. Barry Kimber. Oh, man. DSJ says, was signing Evan Fournier the move we should have made in the offseason? Let me take a sip of coffee on this. Well, right now it doesn't look like it. You know what? I don't know, man. The verdict is still out, because we're not seeing a great Evan Fournier. He's not giving us much right now. And I keep saying the next game is going to be the game, because I know Evan Fournier can give us more than he's given us. But you know what? Do we blame Evan Fournier? If he sees something that's going on the court, if he sees there's too much ISO ball and guys are not sharing the ball, which means they're also not getting the greatest. And he also said that we're not taking good shots. Now, mind you, this is something that you guys should pay attention to. This is interesting. Evan Fournier said we're not taking good shots. We've watched some of these basketball games, and we've seen Kemba, we've seen Evan, even Julius, maybe a little bit, but really Kemba and Evan have taken wide open shots, right? But what he's saying is, just because I'm open doesn't mean it's a good shot. And that, I think, is really a big point. Evan is saying, as a team, we're not moving the ball effectively. We're not sharing. We're not creating good opportunities for us as a unit. And if that doesn't change, how can we expect Evan Fournier to play better when he sees what we're doing wrong and why we're not playing better and how it's probably affecting his game as well? So as much as I want to say, DSJ, that maybe it was a bad move to sign Evan, I've seen Evan play good last year. I've seen Evan play good many years prior to that against us. So maybe we as a team or Tips should be listening to Evan and figuring out what is he talking about? How can we do better at moving the ball and facilitating and getting and creating better opportunities for us to get easy baskets and to keep a flow in the game? Our pace is bad. And last night we had 17 assists, guys. Evan Fournier said this before last night's game, and we finished with 17 assists. 17 assists, that's, I mean, if you, as a team in 4 quarters of basketball is not good. Salute Stafford Don. What's up? Yes. I'm so sorry, brother. I've been talking about you. I talked about you last night. I'm so sorry for you, Divine, Josh, aka Uncle Fulio, and my man Uncle Freezy. Y'all were together. Y'all were clicked up at the game. It looked like a really great atmosphere. That first quarter must have been incredible. You were going nuts. You got to meet Muggsy Bogues, which is pretty cool. And I think Josh made a joke. He said, I was sitting down and Muggsy was standing. And we was like, right. Anyway, but I'm so sorry, bro. Stafford, you deserve better, man. That looked like a real, like I was looking at Divine. He was showing some video on Knicks Real Talk. You guys go out there and support Divine's channel, Knicks Real Talk. Also support The Real Buzz with him and CT from The Streets is Buzzing, and support Streets is Buzzing as well. Those are three good shows from 2 talented individuals and the cast and crew of all these Knick players that come on, man. I mean Knick players, I mean Knick community players like us. Like KJW and Jarvis and, you know, Stafford Don shows up. All these guys show up. I mean, really good stuff. So definitely support those 3 shows. But yeah, I'm sorry that it didn't turn out the way you would have hoped. Geraldine, Kimba had hot hands to start the game, and Tibbs sat him down, and he was ice. Well, when he put him back in, I don't understand. Yeah, well, here's the problem. And I agree with you. He did sit him down. He was hot. The issue here too is like, I'm not saying I know exactly how to orchestrate an offense, but I know there's a way to keep feeding the hot hand. But at some point when you start to see that the defense knows, okay, they're only going to Kimba. This is the Kimba night. And Kimba's at a disadvantage. It's not Kimba 6'6" and is going to continue to do this over anybody. He's still 6 feet or 5'11", whatever he is. And so the defense can eventually key in on him. Are you only going to pass it to Kimba? Okay, let's guard Kimba. But the rest of the team is not figuring out how to get themselves in the game. Like Randall just decided, I'm going to pass the ball. Some people said, well, somebody said, should I say, maybe he took offense to what Fournier said. And maybe he felt like he was the reason why the ISO stuff was happening. So he decided to be a facilitator and move the ball, and it was Kimba's night. So he wasn't looking for his shot. I mean, you know, maybe that's the case. I don't know. Delano says, is Kemba Walker deferring to Julius Randle too much as a playmaker, and his energy good enough to impact his game? I think he is deferring to Julius. I think they're all deferring to Julius too much, him and Fournier. And I think Fournier's been trying to do that, and now I think Fournier was trying to say something as what do you call that? Politically correct as possible without upsetting anybody. I think he was trying to do what Marcus Smart didn't do. He's trying to say, listen, we know this is Julius' team, and we've been trying to get my man off and let him do his thing. But we're a team, and in order for us to play better, we got to move the ball. That gives us all a rhythm. So, you know what? Let's do this. Let me. I'm gonna come back to the chat. Let's take a little quick look at the box score, because you know what? That says it all, right? Oh man, guys. So, all right, Quentin Grimes didn't play, so let's leave it right here. Oh man. So as you can see, guys, I think some of you have already looked at this stuff, and it's just bad, man. Look at the tale of two cities right here. R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, Evan Fournier, and Kemba Walker. Look at that plus minus. -17, -18, -9, -11, -23. Then you look at the bench mob. Taj Gibson, Alec Burks, Derrick Rose, Emmanuel Quickly, and Obi Toppin. +6, +4. There's a +15. There's a +3. It's a +10. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know what's happening. And then unfortunately, guys, yeah, this is why it's so tough. This Kemba acquisition is a rough one. And I was in a conversation earlier with Feet Sports about this. The Kemba Walker. He had 26 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals, and yet he was a -23. So basically, you get it, right? If some of y'all don't know how plus and minuses work, it's about what the opposing team does while that person's on the court. Like it's the point differential, right, between when that person's on the court and off the court. So in essence, while Kemba was on the court, he's a -23 plus or minus. So they still, whatever 26 points that he added to the team, Charlotte eclipsed that. You know what? And it was a -23. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, the whole point was to get Kemba in here to give us more scoring. But when he gives us 26 points, we still get a -23 out of him. Now, that's not to say that the -23, these numbers are just, it doesn't mean that it's all Kemba. The -23 is a team related thing. It's not like whoever Kemba was guarding or whatever. It's not like that. But it just proves a point that it's a bigger issue than just Kemba, but Kemba is not necessarily helping even when he puts up 26 points. The team itself, like, this is what I've been saying. Like, Julius Randle can't give you 10 points and you expect to win the game. RJ Barrett can't get 2 points with all this other stuff happening, and you expect to win the game. Now, it's one thing if Julius had 25 and Kemba had 26, and then maybe Evan had 10 or 15, and RJ gives you 2 points. Okay, all right, you can survive that. But not when all this other stuff is happening. Like 2 points from RJ, 10 points from Julius. Mitchell Robinson had more points than RJ Barrett or Julius Randle. Really? Evan Fournier had 5 points, guys. All right. I don't want to look at this anymore. It's depressing. I got to get away from this. I will say that the bench mob played really well. And none of them was crazy when it comes to points. I mean, Alec Burks had the most with 15. And then you saw that, Toppin had 7. His plays were pretty explosive. There were dunks and/or layups. Quickly hits 3 big threes. We did that from him. It's just playing from behind once again, and it's just not enough. You know what I mean? Like, there's only it's only so much you can expect from these guys to keep having to play from behind, and getting these guys out of jams. I don't know, man. It's tough to watch. As a Knicks fan, it's tough to watch. Let me get back into the chat real quick. Pudge says Kemba and Fournier might be benched soon. That might be the case, man. That might be the case. Geraldine, when he put him back in. Yep, no, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, when you put him back in, he was cold. It's all Tibbs' fault. Our players are doing their best. Yeah. Johnny Bryant's waiting for his shot. He may be. Salute Steph from the Queen's Court. Definitely tune into the Queen's Court. Monday nights normally. Unless there's a Knicks game, then you'll catch it Tuesday nights on the Nothing But Knicks NBK network. She puts on a great show. She's had some really, really good guests lately, so it's been pretty exciting. I know she's also working on a show. I don't know if it's today. You can correct me or not if it's today or maybe it's next Saturday. I know you were working on something with Stephen Fox, so I'm gonna stay tuned and look forward to seeing that one as well. DSJ says, in regards to the coaching, should we have done a better job holding on to Coach Mike Woodson? Was Coach Woody undervalued as a part of the coaching staff? Definitely. Woody's great, man. And Woody's someone that is in Tibbs's ear. You know what I mean? Someone he respects, a peer. So it is unfortunate that we lost Woody. Now, Woody primarily on the defensive end, but even though they come from the same school, they're under that whole umbrella, him and Tibbs, he might have had some different opinions as far as what to do with this Knicks squad. But you know what? Even though he's not there, guys, Woody loves the Knicks. And Woody talks about the Knicks. Believe me, Woody and Tibbs, they're friends. They talk. So I'm sure if Woody sees something, he's mentioning to him. Plus, Woody has shown and met with the team. He came back right after he got the coaching job, and I'm sure he probably has come back maybe, or has even been with the team at some other occasion that we don't know about because they don't need to make that public. You know what I mean? So I think Woody's input is probably still there in some fashion, just in a regular talk. And Tibbs may take that stuff to heart, and he may try to do stuff to implement it. So I don't know if Woody is necessarily all the way removed, but I hear you though. I hear you. And it would have been great to still have him on the bench. Yep, tough one. IQ might be the answer. He might be the person to start. Yeah. All right. Pudge Nice says it should be IQ, RJ, OB, Randall, and Noel. That's interesting. So you're just saying, forget these new acquisitions. Let them go to the bench. I mean, I'm not mad at this either. I'm just really more worried about what happens to that bench mob. And like I said, will you get the best out of Obi when he's sandwiched in between Randall and RJ? Although, if you're taking out Kimba and Fournier, the onus on having to give the ball to those guys as well in the starting lineup is not there. So now, Noel's not an offensive threat. IQ doesn't mind sharing. RJ's okay. We've seen he doesn't mind sharing. So maybe OB could exist with this lineup, just OB and Randall kind of. But then Pudge, you might have stumbled on something here. This could be interesting because my concern was, all right, but when OB or Randall gets tired, what do? Well, you got Taj. For Noel, you got Mitch. I'm putting this one down in my mental database. Okay, Pudge, this one might be, it's one of those might have sold me. Because, I like the defense with Noel. I like Obi's explosiveness. I like Randall being Randall. I like RJ's defense and RJ being RJ. And then I like the better point guard play as far as activeness from IQ. I'm gonna hold on to that one, Pudge. DSJ says, honestly, I don't think it matters who starts at the point guard position. I think Randall's position on the roster takes away from the role of that point guard. Yeah, no, I mean I agree with you overall, DSJ, because I think that that's gonna be that's the big divide, right? How do we, you know, do anything and allow Randall to do what he does and be happy out there because you know we see how he is when he's not happy. Be happy out there. But you know what? I think quickly we'll find a way from listening to Rose. I'm not going to say listening to Kimba because Kimba doesn't know Randall that well. I'm going to say from listening to Rose how to get Randall in the positions and spots that will make him effective, and limit Randall from himself, limit him from the ISO ball. Because Randall only does ISO when nothing else is working, right? We've seen that. It's not like Randall always wants to go ISO. Randall goes ISO when he sees that either he's got it cooking and he just thinks, well, I'm going to take whoever I got on me. Or if he sees that the offense is not doing anything, then he's like, well, I got to go ISO. I got to get buckets. That's how he does it. So I'm not going to say Randall is a selfish player, guys. I don't believe he is. I just think that he has a certain way about him. Steph is like, we have to try something. You are right. We do. No, you're welcome. You're welcome, Steph. As always, you deserve it all. We appreciate you. You know, I appreciate you as a person, and the content you bring is an added plus. So, the bench. The Queen says the bench is the bench for a reason. They will get exposed over time. I do think we can sprinkle the rookies in some. That is where me and you agree 100%. I agree. I think if you focus too much on what this bench is giving to you and then you rely too much on this bench, the bench will eventually get exposed. Let's not forget the bench had a struggle in the first few games of the season. It took them a little while to get going. Now, maybe they'll just be one of those things where they just keep it going the rest of the year. But come on, this is the NBA. People go up and down. So expect the bench to go up and down too. Luka Semanik or Sesmanic. I can't really say that last name. I think that's what it is. Luka's going crazy in the G League. Yeah, no. This is tough, man. This is tough because he is going crazy in the G League. He's doing great right now. And I like the fact that he gives you a little bit. I'm like, he's taking it to the rack. He's dunking on people, and he can shoot a little bit from outside. I haven't seen him do a lot of the shooting from the outside. I think he's just been taking it in a lot because it's just he sees it. It's there. Yeah, and Luka might be someone that we need to bring up. I don't know Luka on the defensive end, but you know what? It's funny you bring up the G League, Pudge, because I wanted to talk about that. You see how bad our culture is right now? Notice how last year we were playing really good basketball on the offensive and defensive end. Offensive, not as much, only because of the firepower we had, but we were still scoring points, right? And limiting the opposing team. We were going so good that our G League team was incredible last year, right? It was top down. Everybody was good. This year, we're struggling in the NBA team, and our G League plays well, and they're losing games. I don't know how many G League games they win, but it seems like every time I look, they're losing. Even last night, they had a great game. I think they had, I don't know how many threes they had, but they had a good amount of threes. And I think in the first quarter, they had about 9 threes or something like that. They were lighting it up in the first quarter and played good throughout the whole game, and they still lost. So we've got an organizational issue. I don't know. Something's going on right now. The mojo is not there. I don't know what it is. And another thing is, once again, now Tibbs is starting to get me upset because now he's hurting guys. You want to keep Grimes here. You want to keep Deuce here. You want to keep Jericho here. You're not using them. What are you doing? These guys could be playing basketball in the G League right now, getting some burn, feeling comfortable about their games, improving a little bit, because even in the G League, they're playing against better competition than they played against in college. So they're still improving. I don't know what Tibbs is doing, especially I don't know. He's got Sims in the doghouse, and Deuce is like a afterthought. Like, what are you doing? What is going on here? I don't know. He needs to stop talking to the refs. Yeah, Randall does need to stop doing that. Actually, it was a good move. It could have, always moved the contract. Yeah, I think you're talking about Randall, us signing him. Yeah, okay. And we did get a discount. That's true. Randall said he took the pay cut because we were getting another star player, his friend Cat. Well, that was the rumor. Hasn't turned out that way yet. But then again, who knows? December 15th, maybe some things will happen. Who knows? Who knows? Not that day, guy. Let me stop doing that. Let me stop saying December 15th for everybody starts thinking, yo, December 15th, something's going to happen. No. We don't know when anything will happen. We just know nothing will happen before then. So let's say that. There's a difference between having an all-star season and being an all-star player. It's a good point, DSJ. That's a really good point. Yeah. I mean, it's real early still for us. So you're right. I mean, that's a good point. Tweet Sports said Queen scored that plus minus differential between bench and starters makes the situation different than your normal bench. That's true. That's true, Feed Sports. But once again, it goes back to you can do that right now, and you can rely on the bench and say, you know what, maybe this is the case. Maybe we flip-flop and get the bench out there a lot more than the starters and run the game through the bench. And, the starters play whatever amount of minutes they play and hopefully they get it together. But if you think that we can rely on the bench all the way through the season and basically shelve the starters, I think we're going to run into a big problem. And mind you, we haven't played the best teams yet, guys. First off, if we play the Bulls right now, I think the Bulls will spank us. I think we will get smoked by those Bulls because the Bulls are getting better and the Knicks are having all types of issues. Not to mention if we play the Brooklyn Nets right now. The Brooklyn Nets will spank us. Okay, we will get smoked. If we play the Miami Heat will probably not only, smoke us, but they're going to get us in our feelings. They're going to get us tight because they're very physical. They're very up in your face. I'm not going to say they're dirty, but they play that old school. I mean, this is a Pat Riley infrastructure. You know how Pat Riley likes to play, and he wants his guys to play that way. Yeah, like they're going to get us in our feelings, and it's going to be bad. And do you think Julius gets emotional? Wait till we play those Heat. I would start IQ and Obi. Okay. He agrees. Put RJ back at shooting guard. That I agree with too. There we go. Noel needs to start. But yeah, I think Noel does need to start. We just need to get Noel healthy. I'm more worried about him being healthy because you know what? One thing I don't want them to do is try to run Noel out there when he's not ready, man, because Noel is very active. And for those reasons, we know Noel's not a big body. He's, long and lanky. He's skinny. So he took a knee on knee and he had to leave the game. He ran right out. He pieced out. He didn't say nothing to the coach. I'm out. He just ran off the court. We need Noel to be healthy, man, because we like the way Noel plays. He's all over the place. He's very aggressive, and we need that. But we need him to be healthy. And when he's not healthy, he's no good to us. Salute, CP the artist. Good to see you, man. Appreciate you. Thanks for joining up. RJ at shooting guard can't hurt. I agree. So to the chat. Mitch is better with the second squad. This is what I'm trying to say, man. People are in their feelings a little bit when it comes to Mitch. Like, yo, Mitch is good. Mitch can do this. Mitch can do all that from the bench. He can do that with the second squad. It doesn't mean he has to be a starter. And I hope Mitch can understand that too. I think it may take Mitch a minute to get it because he's like, how do I get looked at as this type of player if I'm not in the starting lineup? Yes, you can easily get looked at as long as you play starter minutes. because when you're on the bench, you know, you're going to come into the game. If you're playing effective, you stay in the game. You'll be mixed match between the bench and starters. There'll be some overlap there, and you'll be playing against other NBA talent. Their team is going to play their starters and bench the way they want to. You're going to see those guys as well. Like, I think that's the thing that Mitch would have to understand. I'm still going to get my minutes. I'm just doing it starting with the bench, you know. And I think honestly, I think if Mitch really thinks about basketball the way basketball needs to be played, he'd probably be happier playing with those bench guys, because those bench guys are having fun out there. They're having a good time. The starters are stressed out and they're pressing. Noel gets worse in extended minutes. Well, you know what? I seen Noel play bad in extended minutes, but I've also seen Noel play good in extended minutes. So it is what it is. Like, but it's not something we actually need to worry about, because, as I said, I really still think that Mitch should get more minutes. I just don't think he should do it with the starting lineup. So Noel's minutes shouldn't really change that much. Noel can still play with the starters, still come out there and give you what he gives you, and then he can get pulled early, like whatever his rotational minutes should be, and bring in Mitch. Problem solved. Yeah, TSJ said blame Danny Green for taking out Nerlens Noel's. Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened. Yes, sir. But yeah, I mean, that is a problem. We do know that he's got those Roberto Duran hands of steel, but he's still good. He just imagine if Noel had good hands, man. Imagine if Noel had good hands, how much more valuable he'd be for us. He could really do some things. Ah, man, it's horrible. Just looking at it's like he catches the ball like this, like the ball hit. Yeah. Oh man, Noel, man. Gotta love that guy. I don't know what to say, man. It's crazy. Facts. No hands, Noel. Quick should be starting the next game. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that. In a minute, guys, I'm about to open it up. So those in the chat want to join up. I'll put it out there. Just give me a little bit. No hand. DSJ said no handle Randall, and now Noel no hands. Oh man, Tibbs got a stagger. Yeah, Pudge. Yeah, got to stagger. Yeah, definitely. Those lineups, man. Mix offense and defense. Oh, Feats. We love your takes, man. We love your takes. You don't got to shut up. Should have signed Gary Trent. Mm-hmm. That might be the case. That might be the case. What's going on with my hat? Yeah. Confused. There we go. All right, here we go. Yeah. Yes, give it time. CP Auto says give it time. Yeah. Delano Steele says maybe we need to criticize Noel more. Seem to have improved the Randall's game. Maybe it will do the same for Nerlens in theory. Maybe. If you're open, it's the best shot you'll get. Let's see. DSJ CP the artist just asking questions that come to mind, not using it as a campaign, but stirring the conversation based on what we've seen so far. Okay. Yep. Why no one is blaming RJ? Oh, there's enough blame to go around, CP. 1 second. Yeah, no, there's enough blame to go around, man. I agree with you. RJ has been playing. If we took RJ's games this season, So what did we played? Was that 13 games now? I think RJ had 4 or 5 really good games. But when you look at it, the rest of those games that RJ played were not good. The first couple ones, he was doing other things to affect the team. He was rebounding, getting assists, but he wasn't scoring well. These last 3 games have been really bad. It's really bad. I don't know what to say. Yeah. So, and then this last game was just horrific. So RJ has a lot to blame. RJ, you know what? One thing I will definitely blame RJ for, or at least he's a part of that, is the effort on on boxing out with regards to rebounding. Hold on, let me take a look at this real quick because I want to make sure that I'm correct, guys. Rebounds. Oh, well, it's worse than I thought. So apparently, for whatever reason, I thought that the Knicks out rebounded Charlotte last night, but it looks like they finished with the same amount of rebounds because I saw 37 and 37. All right, well, either way, I don't know. To me, even if we out rebounded them or we tied them in rebounds, it seems like we lost to them in rebounds because LaMelo Ball had 17 rebounds. Now, LaMelo Ball is a really good player, and I'm not taking anything away from him, but there's no way he should have 17 rebounds and 16 defensive rebounds. What? Our guards are not boxing out, and RJ is a big part of that. So, last night was a really bad game for RJ. He was making all the right choices. Wrong choices. He was going to the basket trying to draw fouls. He went up for a layup. He got knocked on his ass, and he didn't get the call. When that happens, at some point, do you say, you know what, these refs ain't working with me, so forget these refs. I'm gonna do what I got to do. I'm not getting. He went up and got knocked right on the ground. No call. At some point, you got to say, you know what, let me stop using the refs as an excuse or trying to depend on them to bail me out of my bad play. Let me get it going. So, yeah, I definitely blame RJ as well. Divine was heated. Yes, he was. Divine was definitely heated. Let's see here. Hold on. RJ is part of the problem. That's CP the artist. Yep, he is. He is. RJ Barrett played horribly yesterday, but part of the criticism could be playing RJ at the wrong position at small forward. Maybe he's better at the 2. That could be the answer. Either start IQ at point guard or put Evan at point guard. Good morning, everyone. Salute. Naruto. Good to see you, brother. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. All right. Okay. CP says RJ can't shoot consistently for shooting guard. That may be the case. You know what? I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough because he can show you such good moments where he's definitely looks like he's got it all together, and then for whatever reason he falls back into these bad habits. But I don't understand. I feel like he gets lost sometimes in the flow of the game. Like sometimes he starts to defer himself, and he's not that confident in what he's doing. What we saw when he had that nice stretch of games when he was being really aggressive, I guess it started with the Bulls. RJ just said, you know what, I'm going to go get my shot. And when he was driving to the basket, he was getting to the spots on the court and doing whatever he wanted. And I think he can still do that. But for whatever reason, he's stopped now. And you know what I've noticed too? Have you guys noticed that the past couple games when RJ's gone to his right side or with his right hand, his layups have been really bad? Like, it's almost like he's throwing it up with his right hand in the effort to get a foul, knowing that he's not going to have a chance to make the basket. And I thought when you go to the hole, the point is to try to get the basket first and then get fouled. If you get fouled, that's the reason why you didn't get the basket. It seems like RJ goes up and just tries to throw it up against the backboard and hope that he's going to get the foul call and just go to the line. It doesn't even look like sometimes his shot is even pointed to the point where he's going to be able to get it in. Like, I've seen some horrible looking shots with his right hand on the right hand side. And I'm not saying this to say that RJ's not good with his right hand. I'm saying this to say that I think his mentality is still wrong with this. He's trying to draw fouls in the wrong way. The point is to make the basket. Let them stop you from making the basket. Not, I'm just going to go in and try to get a foul. I don't know what's going on with that. And I've been, harping on that since last year. I've been looking at RJ. I'm like, what is he doing? RJ is mediocre when he is mediocre. Yeah. Mm-hmm. CP said RJ looked like he playing in sand. Oh, man. DSJ said, I rewatched the game this morning before joining the live stream. Kemba Walker outscored the entire Hornets roster in the first quarter. Yeah, he did. He was cooking with Kemba. Cardiac Kemba was back in the building for nothing. All that for nothing. Geraldine, every player on the starting five and bench should touch the rock, run a motion offense to get the best shot. There's a time and place for isolation. There is a time and place for isolation. You're right. I agree. And when I say touch the rock, I mean touch the basketball. Any new person who doesn't know what that means. Just saying. I'm tired of RJ being left out of criticism. He is the number 2. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. And hold on, let me put this in the chat. Open this up a little. Let's open this up and get a couple people in here. My man DSJ, what's good?
Oh man, what's going on, Ron? I couldn't wait to get on to talk nothing.
Yeah, we hear you, Steph. We can hear you. All right. Second. Hold on. Yeah, man. I hear you, DSJ. Everything good though?
Yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. The game, of course, wanted a better result, but I mean, everything else, what I'm saying, I think it's just like I said, I'm asking the questions because it's a conversation that we need to have. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. Let me give it 1 second, see if we can get Steph back in here. Give me a thumbs up if you feel good, Steph. Let's see if she's good to go. Yeah, man. But I like some of the stuff you're saying is right. I think we might have to make some changes. We might have to mix it up a little bit. As long as it works, as long as it's nothing too crazy and messes with the psyche of this Knick team, because we got some sensitive cats on this team right now, and Randall being one of them, the main one. So if we lose Randall, we have a problem because we gave him the money. He's our guy. We can't have him feeling a certain way, nor should he, because if he really cares about our Knicks squad, he knows that winning is the big picture. It's not about any one player. But
Yeah, but truthfully, we lost our identity. Um, and it's not a shot to Fournier, nothing like that. But if you look at the fact that the one complaint that we have about our starting unit right now really pertains to that one spot, because everybody never mentions Alfred Payton's name, but the one person that we say is missed is Reggie Bullock for his defense, his perimeter defense, his
Right.
help defense. And Fournier doesn't offer that. Now, we said that the counter was Fournier is supposed to be a better offensive threat. Now, notice the word I used. I didn't say offensive player, I said offensive threat. He was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be able to do more, so that would be able to free up the offense not only for himself but for everybody else. He could put the ball on the floor, which is something that Reggie Bullock lacked. He was a playmaker, which is something Reggie Bullock lacks. You know what I mean? So the counter for the lack of defense should have been more offense predicated on that theory, but we're not seeing that. And as far as the bad shots, he has to be held accountable for that too, because there were shots, and I'm speaking again. This is me watching the game fresh. You're taking contested shots in the corner three, as opposed to looking for the best opportunity to get another person a shot. Now, I think what he should do, personal opinion, is adapt the game that Alec Burks started with, which is
Mm-hmm.
when he catches the ball on the wing, a pump fake and a drive in for a mid range jumper. That was his second basket of the game, and that was so. I'm talking about Fournier at that point with the second basket. That was so effective because of the way that the defense, the rotation of the defense was when he beat Oubre off the dribble to get in for that shot.
Right.
The rest of the Hornets didn't know whether to try to close out on him or stay with their man. They elected to stay with their man, giving Fournier an open mid-range jumper. Right? Burks did the same thing in the third quarter as well for that
Mm-hmm.
same reason. Now, that level of versatility, I think, gives you the matchup problem that you have. But if you're only at this point right now shooting more threes than you are in creating your own offense, then what are we really talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, like rather than me talk about it, let me get back to introducing Steph. The Queen's Court is in the building.
Salute,
Thank you for
Steph.
being here. Appreciate you for jumping on. How you doing this morning?
I'm a little agitated, so I had to kind of set my intention before I came on the show, just to make sure that it doesn't come across that way. Shout out to you, Delano Still Jr., you, Ron. Thank you for the show. I didn't get a chance to go on the post game or nothing but Nick, so I got a lot of pent up energy
Right, right.
about last night's game. You
No,
know
I
what?
hear you. Definitely let it be known. And let me tell you,
Mhm.
I was so upset last night that I didn't go on the post game with Sim, but I'm just watching and watching. I felt like I got to call in. I got to say something. I'm so
Right,
upset.
right. And
But
when
go
I
ahead.
when I woke up this morning, I saw it was an almost 2 hour show. I'm like, oh, I missed it. It probably was pretty
Yeah,
good,
yeah.
and I didn't get a chance to look at it yet. Listen, I think there's enough blame to go around. The 2 points I want to make is Randall has to be Randall. So I'm not sure how much of this is reading Twitter or reading what other people are saying and feeling like he has to pass the ball so much. He does need to pass the ball, don't get me wrong, but I think he's
Mhm.
deferring a bit too much. That Randall that took 9 shots a few games ago, this Randall was only scoring 10 points. We're not going to reach our ceiling if Randall is not Randall. Now, his stats may not look the same because we have other options, but from the eye test, you should be able to look at him and say, he's playing well, he's playing crisp. His shots, his stats are down because there's other people. That's not what it is. There's something in Randall's game right now that's not right. People are holding on to that narrative that he's ISOing. If you looked at the past 5, 6, I don't know how many games, he is not ISOing. So let's get off of that narrative. He's passing the ball around. Now, don't get me wrong. Every time he comes down the court, he feels like he has to touch it at the top of the key. RJ can be bringing it down the left side. He's at the top of the key, like, give it to me, give it to me. And when he does get it, he will swing it to the other side. But you don't have to touch the ball every time down. But when he does, in all fairness, he usually swings it to the other side. Randall has to find his groove in this offense. Otherwise, we're not going to be where we need to be. My second point is we got to make a decision about RJ. If RJ is our second option, then we have to hold him accountable. We can't just be all on here when he has good games. Oh, look at him. He's our number 2 option. He's coming to his own. And then when he has a stretch like this, everybody is quiet. If he's our number 2, we have to hold him accountable when he has bad games. Or let's just acknowledge he's not there yet. He's working himself into that role, and that's totally fine. But it has to be one or the other. A lot of people are saying he's our number 2 and giving him a pass. He's playing terrible right now. Right. All right, I'm a little agitated this morning, but that's what I want to start with.
To that point though, Steph, I think that in essence is part of the problem. And I know we both said that in the chat. RJ is not a definitive number 2 like he was last season. Right now, the conversation was with Fournier coming in and being the second highest paid. He basically could take on that role. Whatever whatever Randall and Bullock had last season, we could replace that with Fournier. Right. Then the conversation goes to what we acquired Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker could be the 1B to Randall's 1A. Right. So now what we have is a situation where we really don't know where the pecking order lies. Right. And now it's about picking spots because, as you said, RJ had a run where he had great games, but we also had 2 games where Evan Fournier looked like exactly that, number 2 that we were talking about. And then again, Kemba, had stretches where he had a good game or, had a good moment, had good moments in the game. Right. And then deferring to Randall is like, okay, well, maybe he's not the number 1. Maybe he's a number 2. You know what I'm saying? So it's so many at this point right now. We don't even have a definitive answer on who to blame when it comes down to who's the number 2 guy on that roster. So I think that's part of the problem as it stands as well. And even the fact that Rose comes up in that conversation. Oh, well, Rose is a number 2 or Rose is a number 1, and he's coming off the bench. So, that's just, just a thought process. What I'm saying, as the points are being made.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I just want to say quick, apologize to the chat before Steph came on. I was having a sound issue. I don't know what's going on. I got one headphone's working now. All of a sudden one dropped. And so but I can only hear out of one ear, but it's okay. It's okay. As long as y'all can hear us, we got sound. It's good. Okay. No problem. Yeah, no, I agree, man. This is one of those things where we're not clicking on all cylinders. We're looking kind of rough out here, and it's starting to be one of those things where, remember how we were saying, man, all these teams, Philadelphia, Brooklyn, they got all these other issues that's affecting their team. Good thing we don't have any of that. Well, we've got maybe the worst issue. Our stuff is on the court. So what do we do without it?
Right.
So yeah, and it makes me look at Atlanta a lot differently too, because Atlanta is off to a horrible start, and we're just like, man, what's going on with that team? Well, you know what? I guess you can kind of understand it. These things are unexplainable, and I think they'll turn it around too. But the Knicks, we've got to focus on getting back to what made us work so well last year. And I think one of the big problems we're having as a unit, I mean, I guess a lot of teams are probably might have the same issue, but we're not practicing. Like these limited little practices we're having, we're playing every other day, and then we've already had a back-to-back recently. So now it might be the first time we're able to get a real practice. Maybe Tibbs is able to do some stuff, and I'm thinking Tibbs is going to be barking. Like, this is going to be a rough one for this team. But it's going to be needed, and hopefully he's able. See, the reason why I want these practices is not just so that the Knicks can work on whatever's wrong with them. I want Tibbs to be able to look at our young rookies, because you can't really look at, if you got a game and then a day off and then another game, you can't really practice, and you definitely can't. I don't got time to be looking at these rookies. I got to worry about my team. So I want the rookies to get up. Maybe McBride says, "Oh, now I'm going to show my backside." Being politically correct, but now I got to go out there and show what I'm doing. And Grimes, Grimes just needs to do what he's been doing. He should be playing. And obviously Jericho is another situation. I got a couple more people that look like they are chomping at the bit, trying to get in here. They got some points they want to make. I know one of them, he's got a lot of points. So hopefully when he gets in here, he won't talk too much and take up all the time. He's one of my best friends, so I can say that to him. So first off, let's get my man Stafford Don in here. Staff, what's good, man?
Blessings. Queen, blessings to you. Delano Jr., blessings to you.
What's going on, Staff?
I was at the game last night, man. It was rough. It was rough. Shout out to Breezy. Shout out to the Real Talk. What's his name again?
Divine.
Divine. Yes, Divine. And shout out to Uncle Fulia, man. We had a great time last night. It just was a disappointing loss. Oh man.
Yeah. Y'all still in NC?
No, I'm back in South Carolina. I drove back last night. I had to work. Right now I'm currently at work. I'm just on for a quick minute. Yeah, I'm putting in 12 hours right now, Delano.
Wow.
Yeah, man, back to work. Yeah, but last night, man, was a disappointing, man. No Randall, no Kemba, no first unit in the second half. We totally disappeared. Kudos to the bench. They came out, they sparked the energy. IQ hit some big threes. Derrick Rose was doing his thing. Got to shout out Burks. He did his thing also too. But Oubre, man, since when Oubre shoot threes? The threes from Oubre really hurt us last night. Our perimeter defense, we need help. I mean, what can I say? We have a big 3-game stand coming up this week. Indiana, I believe, is Magic and the Rockets. So hopefully we could bounce back, get to at least hopefully 10-6, and move on to Phoenix and these other big teams that's coming up.
Right. No, man, I agree. Listen, man, I'm once again, I'm gonna say it. I'm sorry y'all didn't have the better experience with the Knicks coming away with the win, but I'm glad you guys got the link up. It looked like a really fun time, and you did get to meet Muggsy Bogues, who I appreciate Muggsy Bogues because he played in the time where I was really loving basketball, and the Knicks teams were great, and them Charlotte Hornet teams were fun to watch. So Kendall Gill was one of my favorite players on that team. So,
wow.
Yeah, man. So this hang loose for a little bit. Let me get my other man up in here. Like I said, I can go back and forth with him because he's one of my best friends. But let me get Prophet, aka Thomas, in the game here from Feet Sports. What's going on, bro?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
All right.
My big thing. Can you hear me?
You just ready to start. He already coming with it.
I just want to say, it's just like, I took a deep dive last night looking at that game, and I was like, man, watching the starters and the lack of energy that they operate with, it was really interesting when you look at the variance between them and you look at the bench. And I was trying to pinpoint what is it about it, but I think a lot of it, I noticed, and I'm not trying to bash Kemba, and I think that this is, it's not going to hurt you as bad as it could because it's a 1-year, $8 million contract, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Right.
but Kemba in the PNR, it was a real interesting issue where it looked like he couldn't pass out of the PNR. So anytime he was running pick and roll, a lot of the times it looked like either it was going to be a jump shot, and if he was going to make a pass, it wasn't going to be easy because they trapped it hard, and he would have to make a difficult pass. So I was worried about how much of a real threat is a PNR without the drop off. And so he was hot early. And so later on, when it, that discontinued, subs out, things like that, that became an issue in my opinion. That might have generated some of those opportunities for the other team. But then also, I think the issue comes down a lot to his durability too. Boston couldn't play him much because of the durability issue. And I think the more that he's playing, the more he's being asked to play at a certain tempo, it's going to show up in his knees. And I think that there's something there that might be influencing some of the performance of that starting unit. I've been saying this to you for the longest. I wanted to go small. I want Randall at the 5, Obi at the 4, get quick in there. But they just need to take advantage of the athleticism that's there for them. I think that's a big opportunity for them. And now that Obi's kind of assimilated, understands like the pace of the game now, because you could clearly see like Obi looks real good. I mean, and I thought he, I maybe underestimated him, but this year he looks really good, and I think they need to take advantage of that. I don't think they're optimizing what Obi can bring to the table, and I think he might be able to help them on both ends of the floor, with that athleticism. So it was really, really glaring kind of the difference between the two units, and you wonder if the starters are really believing in themselves now. Like, have they lost a little bit of confidence? Are they second guessing themselves, watching how well the bench has done in comparison to them? So that's just what I was thinking, and I was arguing with you for like 25 minutes prior to this, so you know where I'm at.
Right. Made me late.
Could I just say one more thing before I go? Just to piggyback what our Feet Sports said. Last night during the game, I think it was either the fourth quarter, and is the part where Tibbs was about to take. I thought he was about to go take out Taj Gibson, because when Randall looked right, I thought he pointed at Gibson, but he pointed at Obi, because I thought they was going to run small ball from them time, but he ended up keeping Taj in the game, and I really thought at that time Obi was going and he was hot. He had just did that windmill.
Yep.
Yeah, just did the windmill, hype the crowd. The game was tied up, and you take out Obi and you leave in Taj. You should have ran with the small ball, and probably would have looked at a different situation right now. We probably would have been talking about a win. But but salute to y'all guys. You already run. I'm listening while I'm at work. Salute to you, Queen. I'm always listening also too.
Appreciate
Junior.
you.
Feet Sports, is nice to meet you. And Ron, we gonna link up later on tonight, all right?
Yeah, man, sounds good.
Yeah, me and Uncle Freezy, we got some interesting things to talk about tonight. People gonna get mad, but it's reality. Yeah, we gonna let we gonna let y'all know tonight, all right? So
you know what? I'm gonna tune in, man. I'll be there.
All right, definitely. Love, peace. All right, blessings.
All right, yo.
Bless up.
Later. So DSJ,
yes, sir.
So based on what my man Feet Sports said, and I know you have mentioned some things in the chat about what's going on with the starting lineup. What do you think that they can do at the moment as a quick fix for this next game that we're going to be facing the Indiana Pacers?
Honestly, I think you just have to roll the dice as is at the moment. I don't think that there's an answer within this immediate roster where you can sit there and say, okay, well, I'm going to justify taking Evan Fournier and his contract out, and I'm going to put Burks in, or I'm going to switch somebody at another position who doesn't have the same accolades. Like, I'm not going to put IQ in for Kemba Walker when Kemba is a 4-time All-Star, the same way, you know what I'm saying, people will sit there and talk about I'm not going to defer to Derrick Rose when Derrick Rose is a former MVP. Unfortunately, the accolades hold weight still, no matter how far removed they are from the current player as is. You know what I'm saying? So, unfortunately, I think that until there's a trade that's made, I think you just have to unfortunately roll with what you have. The only difference is when it comes down to the center position, you might be able to put Taj in, because I think Taj brings a different level of energy and accountability, um, with any roster he plays with, whether it's starting or coming off the bench. I think that he holds a certain level of respect, and he has a level of accountability that he offers to the roster as a whole, and they'll listen. So, as opposed to the deferring to a point guard, maybe I think maybe that's a conversation Taj might need to have with Randall. Um, Something I've seen in Randall's game that is, I won't say troubling, but I think it could benefit him a little bit more, is the drive to the cup. I think he's relying a lot more on that mid range game and that fadeaway that he likes to do, as opposed to attacking the rim a little bit more. I'd like to see that, especially when he might have a clear out, because I think that those, again, you can't have a 4 for 15 game and you've only taken 2 shots at the rim. You know what I mean? And expect not to hear that level of criticism. You're taking a contested three, or what I'm saying, even if it is a wide open three, you do it within the flow of a game. You know what I'm saying? Get a basket that falls in, because it wasn't until the second quarter when you saw him get that layup, and then he started, what I'm saying, he got 7 straight points off of that, where okay, now it's like, now it starts to make sense. Now it's clicking. I think the reason that he was left in the with the second unit in the first quarter was because of that. Again, he was scoreless until the second quarter. And I think, unfortunately, NBA politics plays a role in that. There's a pecking order, and they still have to make sure that it makes sense to why some people have contracts the way they have their contracts relegated. You can't sit there and say this 25-point per game player or $25 million player is going scoreless. You know what I'm saying? Without at least a certain level of credibility towards that shot. You know what I mean? Like, if you pulled him in the game with the rest of the starters during that time, you might have heard criticism coming from, you know what I'm saying, not only the analysts on whatever stream, whether it was the Hornets or the Knicks play-by-play announcement, but again, the fans would have criticized it as well. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, this is your franchise player, and that's how you treating them. That's the conversation we would have had, despite the fact that he really didn't play that well until the second quarter. So,
yeah,
But he was scoreless on his own account. He was overpassing. There were shots to be had in that first quarter. I mean, obviously Kemba was going off, so definitely you want to allow that, and he had the hot hand, and you want to continue to feed that. But there was ample opportunity for Randall to score. He was overpassing, and I'm not sure how much of that is because he's getting a lot of criticism, because Fournier said the offense was stagnant. I'm not sure what it is, but there was ample opportunity for him to take more shots. And in my opinion, he just didn't do that. So I think he was just, because there was one time he was right there for the layup, and he passed it back out. I'm like, what are you doing? So I don't know if he's trying to make a point or what it is, but whatever it is, it cannot continue.
I think he might have been in his feelings.
I know last night,
maybe.
One thing I noticed last night with Randall, the matchup was not the easiest. Bridges is an athletic, built the same way, and I think that was part of the issue last night. When he was open, he knocked him down. I mean, I remember him shooting the three. I know he got a lay. I think he hesitated, did like a spin, a fake spin, and then went and had a lay, drew a foul. So I mean, it's not that I don't, and I'm with you, Queen, on that. Like, I think he was deferring early in the game. Kemba was hot. He was trying to follow the energy of the game, which is smart. But I think it's important to remember last night, that team has tons of energy. They played with great. They were a little out of control early in the first half, but they got their pace down in the second half. And part of that is the starters not doing what they need to do, and they got comfortable. But Bridges is a tough matchup, and Bridges was kind of lined up with him for a lot of the night. Bridges can jump as high as him. Bridges is as strong as him. And you saw those lays at the end of the game. I mean, the dude's there as an athlete, and so a little credit to Charlotte last night for the matchup and how they performed. I think Randall's good to go. Honestly, I don't worry about that guy as much. I'm worried about them underutilizing Obi, because Obi clearly gets it, and I think Mitchell, Kemba may not allow them to run like a Obi and a Quick lets them run. Even a Rose lets them run, and I love Rose because he just has a great way to control the pace of the game, not just from a scoring standpoint, but he can also facilitate. And I think it's important to Kemba for me is the third guard on the team. I know it sounds crazy, but Kemba for me is the third guard on the team. If Rose and Quick share that starting kind of emphasis, okay, I'll be okay with that. That's just my opinion.
All right, well, let me ask you this though. Well, I'm gonna get back to you, Queen, because I want to ask you about what they can do. I agree with you. I think we talked about it, or should I say, I feel like I talked about it, but maybe I was just watching. I don't even know where I'm coming and going sometimes. I feel like I'm in the conversation all the time, but I know they definitely talked about it in the pregame on MBK. Sim was pointing to the matchups. And the matchups weren't looking too good, for Charlotte and the Knicks. Charlotte got a lot of good stuff going on over there. Their height is good. They cause a lot of matchup problems. And then, like you said, size-wise, Bridges has that same type of strength, same size and athleticism as Randall, so that makes it kind of tough. And then the other Hayward and the other matchups, it's a lot of matchup issues, right? But with that being said, even though Miles was a tough cover, and he was active, and I think that could have affected Randall a little bit. I think the Queen is right of what she saw, and I think a lot of people speculating to Randall's psyche, it looked funky, man. It looked funny. The way he was passing the ball and moving the ball to Kemba was one thing to get him open, but it was almost at some points it was too unselfish. It's like if you have an open shot, and now you're passing it to Kemba, who's not open, just to get him the ball, and now he's got to create himself open. No, something else was going on there, and I have a big, strong feeling that Fournier's comments had a lot to do with it. These guys. I mean, and I'm sure that Fournier is not. Even if Randall knows what Fournier said, that's what I'm trying to get at. And even if he found out through back channels, or if Fournier said it to the team himself, because Fournier seems like he doesn't care. Whatever. He'll tell everybody how he feels, what they should be doing. The point is, Randall looked differently. Like he felt like some of those comments were geared towards his play of, his style of play. And he's like, well, I'm going to pass the ball and we'll see what happens. We'll see if that makes a difference tonight. I'll pass the ball and let you guys do your thing, and we'll see if we win. That's how I felt.
And it's not even just last game. I've been noticing it the past few games. And I like him moving the ball. He draws a lot of attention. I like him moving the ball. It's just when he's moving it too much, like you want to take yours, give. That's not what I'm seeing. And when he does take a shot, it's like an awkward 3-pointer, like at the top of the key. Not all the time. He just doesn't look the same to me. And maybe it's just him trying to find his balance, because they got two new players in the starting lineup, and he wants to pass it around and share. I agree with you, Ron. You said this earlier. I don't think he's a selfish player. I don't think he's somebody that's just trying to go for himself and trying to get his stats. And I do hear that a lot. But I think hasn't quite found the balance between when do I go for me to help this team and when do I pass the ball out. That balance, it looks like it's there, but it's something is not right in my opinion.
Right. And wait, hold on one second, Thomas.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, the issue looks like it's on Randall because Randall is being tasked as a person to bring the ball up the court a lot and act as a facilitator. But Randall, to me, is not the issue. What Randall's been doing lately, maybe last night he was milking it a little bit. He was overpassing.
Right.
But it's not him. The team is not moving the ball. Let's not forget our conversations that we've had in the past about how we're watching guys wide open and guys are not giving them the ball. The team is not moving the ball. You don't expect, Randall to get the ball to everybody. He's not the point guard. He's just another cog in the wheel to help facilitate. The rest of these guys, the Kimbas, the Roses, even Quicklies, the Arj, everybody who handles the rock for this team has to find guys and get them, and not just pass the ball. It's one thing to pass the ball. It's another thing to make a play that you passing the ball to lead a guy open. You're putting him in a good position to take a shot. You know how many times I've watched the Knicks dump the ball off to one of these guys down low? They gave Taj the ball on the baseline when he was still moving, and then he caught the ball, and then he's got to turn and put it up. He hasn't even squared himself yet. He's on the base, and then we got a violation, like a turnover from that, because he couldn't even get in the right position. Like, there's certain things, they're not looking at the game the right way when they're giving up the ball. They're just moving the ball. Go ahead, Thomas.
Now, one thing, I had this complaint last year. I've argued with you quite a bit about Tibbs. So,
yeah, you do.
I think their offensive creativity is extremely lacking. It's been lacking since last year. I don't know if they have like an offensive coordinator, because a lot of these teams have like an offensive guy that helps to devise that strategy. But for me, I want to see more DX show kind of stuff from Randall. A lot like how they run their offense in Denver with Jokic, but you got to have guys that can go downhill. Burks can get downhill. Barrett can get downhill. You got to have guys coming off of that. And I don't think, and when they do that, you see Barrett have those big games. You do that, but I don't think they do enough. I think they let him do, it's not. I don't even want to call it isolation. It's just like he's like Queen said, he's at the top and he's just, I don't know, trying to dissect what's going on and where do I go with the ball, And then another thing is, like, when Quick came in, I saw these horns looks. They had these horns where they would come down, he would curl right off that screen and go straight downhill. And that's where he gets his floater off of. He got some kick outs off of it. He would do some horns, kick, then fade back out and be open for a three. They need to continue to do that. I think what it comes down to is their offensive design is really poor. And so it makes it hard for them to get shots, like, consistently. And that's why the bench is so good, is because those guys do all of those things I just mentioned really well. So especially because D Rose is really good in those horns looks, Quickly's really good in those horns looks, and they can diagnose, drop the ball off, things like that. So I think they need to bring a guy in that really has a better feel for creating spacing in the offense. I'd have to watch more. I don't watch all the Knicks games, but I would like to see what are they coming out, and are they doing 4 out 1 in, or are they doing 3 out 2 in? And if you know Queen, because I know you watch them every game, Ron. If you know them, I'm not sure what looks they come out naturally in, but they need to create better spacing and drive angles so that Randall doesn't have to struggle to get into the lane. They can't double, and make every shot difficult for him, because he makes a lot of tough shots, but you can't survive. And I said this to you last year, Ron, you can't survive in the playoffs having to fight for every bucket, because they're already hard enough to get. You got to find some easy buckets somewhere. So systematically, you got to have something. So.
Yeah, 2 points I'd like to. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, DSJ.
Yeah, 2 points I'd like to make under those circumstances, right? And this goes into what I was saying about Randall and attacking the rim a little bit more. I can't remember who said it, but Randall catches the ball at the top of the key. I don't know if that was you, Steph, that said it,
I think
right?
so.
And at that point, I'm looking at, okay, you have 20 feet at least to create an offense. And now everybody's predicated on your movements. I think he makes it a little harder for himself, because I feel like, which goes into the point that I wanted to make in regards to the layups and trying to get more interior baskets. If he played a trail guy a little bit more, right? Let's say Kemba comes, because Kemba's good on driving kick. I don't think they've really featured that a lot. Same thing with Fournier. Fournier is good at driving kick. I think Fournier is just better at driving kick on the perimeter. He's shown a lot of that, especially with Boston. But that's what, because you have perimeter shooters. Now, if you're playing a guy with a trailer, you know what I'm saying, as far as Randall coming into this trailer, you're making the basket easier because now you've got to cover that Fournier drive or that Kemba drive. And if you're looking for him to, again, I think a lot of times too, seeing that Kemba was getting blocked at the rim, maybe if he's dribbling and passing the rock inside to an interior cutter or an interior trailer, that makes the basket easier for Julius. And then at that point, now it's like, okay, again, you're giving him a different look at the offense. So now it's not looking as primitive and as pedestrian on a regular basis, because now here's another look that you didn't expect, opening his game back up just a little bit more to where you can create a little bit, because now you don't know for sure if Randall's going to be the guy with the ball at the top of the key, having to create the offense. You know what I mean? I just think that different looks would really benefit the roster, especially to keep the defenses honest. If I already know what you're going to do, then what do I at this point right now, it's just really a matter of picking your poison, whether I can get the ball in the steal, create a turnover in certain regards, because if I just double team Randall at the 15-foot or 17-foot mark and he tries to kick out, I could play the passing lane. Or if he tries to shoot over me, it's just creating that difficult shot. And we just got to make sure we're in position to rebound the ball. Now you see what I'm saying? So the conversation is different, because as long as you continue to run the same exact play, the same exact way, then I really don't even have to work that hard on defense. I already know what you're going to do. So,
You're
that's
right.
just another possibility as far as how to open up the offense just a little bit more, and utilizing the guys that you just brought in, because you're not even utilizing their strengths. You've turned everybody basically into jump shooters. Kemba now plays the perimeter more than he has ever in his career. And yeah, that could be part of because of his knees, with his condition right now. Fournier is still adjusting to this new roster, so there's new schemes that's being learned as well. But overall, give them a different look. Give the defenses different looks in order to get the benefit of not only having Randall doing what he does best, but also doing what everybody else on the team does best, what you brought them in for.
Right. Well, I mean, that is what I've been harping on since we started the season. And you made some great points, and Thomas at Feet Sports, you made some great points as well on that. Like, this is one of the things that I am concerned about when you come in with this new look offense, which it really is a new look offense when you think about it, because they're trying to do things more when it comes to 3-point shooting, yet they're not moving the ball effectively and efficiently. And when a team takes away the 3-point range from them, when they press up on them on the line, they're not coming out with effective ways how to beat the traps and the presses that they're doing. The zone defense is giving us fits. I said before that we need to come up with different plays, back cuts and stuff, not just for other players, but for Randall, our star player. Make it easier for him to score and get him comfortable, get into the basket. He shouldn't have to work as hard to get buckets, because if you do that, you get him in a nice flow. He starts to get confident, even though we know Randall's confident. He's the man, right? But that's not about him. It's about the team. It's the back cuts, the moves, the pick and rolls, all these different things to get everybody flowing nicely. That's what creates a good flowing offense. And we saw that. We haven't seen it since that first preseason game. That first preseason game, we were all like, wow, this is incredible. The 3-point shooting is phenomenal. The passing is great. Look at their moves. What offense are they running? We was all trying to figure it out. I haven't seen that since. And we're talking about, this is 13 games in. So let me ask you something, Steph. And I know you've pointed to different things in the past. What do you think the Knicks can do in the immediate time frame right now to kind of fix what's going on out there. Mind you, considering what Kemba did give us last night, because usually the fix is a little different because we're getting nothing from Kemba. Last night we got something from Kemba, even though we got 10 points from Randall, 2 points from RJ, and 5 points from Fournier. So what do you think we could do like right now to kind of help with what's going on, even if it's offense or defense or both, whatever? What do you think they can do?
Right. I would say, though, that my answer does not change by how Kemba played last night. He was in Charlotte. He wanted to have a good showing, maybe show, them that he still has game or what have you. I would need to see him do that consistently for a few more games for me to be able to say, you know what, maybe he was struggling early. Since that Charlotte game, he's been pretty good. I would start I would change the starting point guard, right? To either IQ or Derrick Rose. Now, listen, I get it when people say that Derrick Rose may change the chemistry in that second unit. I get it. But we need another alpha in that starting unit. And this is what I mean by that. RJ, he'll take it or not. Kemba, take it or not. Too many nice guys in that starting lineup. An alpha for me is somebody that they're going to go outside of the confines of the offense if they need to. They don't mind ruffling Randall's feathers a bit. Like, nah, I'm not giving it to you right now. I see something and I'm going to find a bucket. None of those guys are going to do that. Rose will. And that's what we don't have. We got too many nice guys in that lineup. Nobody wants to ruffle anybody's feathers. Nobody wants to. I don't know if it's get Randall upset. I don't know what it is. So I would start Rose. I think we have enough ball handlers in that second unit. I actually quickly going to the point, in that second unit, I think would be okay. But even if you want to put Quick in the first unit, you can. But Quick is also somebody that I think may play differently in that starting lineup because he's in there with Randall. Last year when they put him in the starting lineup, he passed the ball around and he played very differently in that starting lineup. It's 1 year removed. Maybe he has a little more confidence, but I think Randall is very strong. His presence is very strong. What he did for the team last year is very strong. And people don't want to, upset him, upset the flow of the offense. Rose is not going to have any problems with that. So, and then I also think take Mitch out and start Noel when healthy. We got 2 injury-prone centers. Noel is thin, but he's very active right now, and he moves around. And Mitch, I don't know if it's the injury, the weight, or what it is. He does not look the same at all. And I think we need a little more energy in that first unit. Yes, go ahead.
I worry about Noel because the lack of offensive opportunity. It's like playing 5-on-4. So all he is a screen guy. He's not a pick and pop guy. He's not a 5. And this is the same issue Mitchell has. Is you got to have a 5 that opens up the floor. That's why I was saying go with Randall at the 5 because he'll stretch that and open the drive angles. The biggest issue for this team right now is they can't get there's 2 levels to score the ball. Everybody knows this. At the rim, 3-point line. They don't get any easy buckets at the rim unless it's Randall. You got to get more. Everybody's got to be able to find a shot type that they can make at the rim, and then they shoot the hell out of the 3 ball. So that's not an issue, in my opinion, if they get their spacing. So I think that's the big issue for me. And I hate that Noel can't handle the ball. He can't catch the ball. So
no rim protection with Randall, though. And Tibbs is not. He loves his rim protection.
Look at Golden State. Who's at the rim?
We not Golden State. And we don't have Golden State coach. Tibbs don't even want to go with the small ball for just 10 minutes in the game.
I told him.
So I know he's not going to start Randall.
I just think like they have to move the needle a little bit and go with the times a little bit because You want to get volume, you want to get pace, and you're not going to do that thing with a traditional big. You're not going to do that with traditional bigs. So, for example, I was thinking about this Pacers matchup. Turner stretches the ball. Sabonis stretches the ball. So he's bringing Mitch out. He's bringing Taj out. Duarte's going to drive it. LeVert's going to drive it. All that guards, Brogdon, if he's playing, he's going to drive it. So how does that look? It doesn't look well. And so,
but I was just answering the question based on an actual possibility. I don't think Tibbs is gonna.
I'm with you though. I'm with you. I know. And you're right, because he's not gonna start Randall. I'm dreaming. So understand. I know what we're talking about. So trust me, you are way more on it than I am right now. But all I'm saying is that I think, Obi, you need a rim runner. You need, even if Randall could get some action at the top and get somebody that can rim run for a lob, Obi in there, changes everything, because the teams have to think, I gotta protect the rim, and it gives you more space to shoot the three ball. It opens up the floor having that rim run. They don't have a rim. Like, you can have Mitchell rim run, but that's all he's gonna do. Obi can stand out there, and you have to respect the fact that he's not a 7-footer that, he could shoot the three ball and make it, so it's just something. I don't know. You're right. Though. Randall's not gonna play fine.
Yeah, I mean, listen, let me just throw this out there to you, Thomas, because I know you're not on the Nerlens Noel train, but it doesn't change the effectiveness for Nerlens Noel in my eyes. Okay, his first game back, he played 17 minutes. He went out there and he had 6 rebounds, and he had a block, and he was a +2 on the court. All right, that's his first game back, not playing in the preseason, not getting any time. This was it, and they haven't been able, because of the way the games have been set up. Every other day is a game, so they haven't been able to really practice like that. The next game, he was a +22, 13 points, 4 steals, and a block, in 24 minutes. Next game, he was a -4. Okay, he was a -4. I will, but he's going to have a bad game. He's not perfect. We know he's limited. He's a backup center. And then the next game after that, he was a +12. Like, he's been out there in limited time, but you already see his plus and minus when you add it up compared to Mitch and, other starters, he's good. So I want you to understand that Noel is not perfect. We know he's got hands of steel, but he's gonna be. He
played
best.
4 games, right?
Yes, and
2 of the games were
about that.
2 of it.
No, they weren't. He only played Milwaukee once. The last game was against the 76ers. He didn't play against the Milwaukee the next game. My bad. Yeah, okay. That's why I'm here, man. Respect.
All right, but I get it. He has great energy, great activity. Those are things that they need in that unit, that first unit, tremendously. It's just, I worry about when teams realize, or when they want to hunker down and they have that matchup. Like, what are they gonna do? Like, what are they gonna do when they're not getting any value back from their 5 spot, whereas the other team is just digging in and just killing them? Now, one thing I'll say is Noel will match up with that perimeter big pretty solid, because you saw how he matched up with Giannis, so it's clear he can do that. He can get out there and cover and defend. But I just worry about when the Knicks say, hey, you got to take a shot. He ain't making it.
But if he catches it, though.
Yeah, that's why I said Randall. But again, like you said, Tibbs ain't starting them.
Right. So between the two, don't you think Noel is a better option than Mitch right now, the way Mitch has been playing?
Yeah.
Yes. You know what? I have to say yes. This is the thing. Yes. You keep talking about Noel's hands, and they are bad. They're bricks.
Baby hands.
But when Noel actually has the ball, when he can actually catch it, he does more with it offensively than Mitch does.
But he won't.
He looks better when
is so low.
But he has. And when he gets to the line, he's been knocking down his free throws. Mitch did last night. But Noel's been better at the free throw line than Mitch. So
beef with that.
I will say I think the Knicks need to definitely figure out a way somehow to get us another big in here that can score a little bit. We need somebody you can give the
Stretch
ball
big.
to. Give us,
They need to
yeah,
stretch
yeah,
you.
yeah. That'd be great. But like he's got to be able to play some defense too. Can't just go out there and be a sieve.
Oh,
You know, I can
it's tough.
score, but I can't block anybody or defend.
Tough.
You gotta get a little bit of both. And maybe it
And-
won't be a big like a traditional. Maybe it'll be somebody like this Lucas Simonik guy from the G League. Maybe it'll be something like that.
And I'll say this: if you guys have any pull with Tibbs, I need you to tell him this. Look, like he has got to understand, like, there are not a ton of fives out here that are gonna give you 30. So if you play Randall, you're not gonna lose that matchup most nights. You're gonna win that matchup. He's gonna rebound. You said last year, Ron, you gave me that stat this morning. I guess Randall was the 6th best interior defender, something like that.
Right.
Last
Right.
year. So
Yeah.
I mean, he has the bulk, the physicality, the ability to use his body to still excel in the post and even get big men that play in the interior and foul trouble. I mean, there's so many advantages to him playing the 5 spot for them that it's hard for me to fathom why you wouldn't do it. And I hope Tibbs is watching. I'm really praying he's watching because this would really help them to have another look that makes things a little bit easier for them offensively and makes other teams have to say, oh, well, if they put Randall on a 5, how do we match up? Well, we don't match up. You don't match up to them because the rim run is still there. The attack the rim ability is still there. Randall shoots the hell out of the 3 ball. And I love Burks. Slowly, he's become my dude because I know I've loved him from the onset because he could really slash, but now he can shoot the 3 ball. He can pass. He can do so much more than he did when he was first drafted. And I like him also as like if I took Fournier out, you know, and I want to keep Barrett in, I like Burks in a pinch, you know, maybe not like starters minutes, but a little
you
bit
know
more,
what?
you know.
I now that you bring it up, why not? Why not? One thing about Burks as well, he's very aggressive too. He has that alpha personality too, where he gonna take a shot. He gonna wave Randall off if he need to. That's what we need, in my opinion, in that first unit. Is too many guys that's just okay, whether they get it or don't get it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, that we got a
like
lot
I
of that.
said, talk to Tibbs, see what y'all can get out of him. But we need that. Y'all need that to change. Like it has to happen. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's got a unit, a lineup that's stretchy in the league. Everybody's got one line. Even if you have a traditional big, let's say we talk about Memphis, right? Memphis has a lineup, but they have a lineup where they have Jackson at the 5.
Right.
You know, instead of Steven Adams in there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's you know, I mean, and what you look at is you start to see Steven Adams now less and less minutes. He's down to like 17 minutes per. Like Jaren Jackson's getting those minutes. And even if Jaren Jackson's not scoring 30, he's only scoring like 12 or 13 a game. It still opens up the floor for Ja. Desmond Bane is killing. All these guys are able to, and those are shooters.
Right.
Those are shooters that can do both. So I just like I said, I just hope that they can incorporate that in there. So
yeah. So Geraldine says, did anybody pick up DeMarcus Cousins? And the answer is no. DeMarcus Cousins is still sitting out there, and there's some people around the league that think it's crazy that he's still out there. I don't know what's the deal with DeMarcus Cousins. I don't know. See, the only thing I could think with DeMarcus Cousins, and I don't want to, you know, defame his character or anything, but that's the only. I mean, the guy can play basketball. If he's healthy, he can give you something. And he's a center. He could stretch the floor a little bit. You know, he's definitely got some offensive ability, and he's not bad on defense. So the fact that he's not signed leads me to believe it's more of a character type thing. Maybe he's, you know, it's tough. DeMarcus Cousins was a star in this league, you know, definitely on the same planes as you know, Anthony Davis. We saw how they played together. We know they've both been the man. And sometimes a guy like that who's used to, I mean, unfortunately had a horrible injury, but is used to being that guy. Sometimes your mentality and the way you think about yourself and the way you think about the game is not in line with your actual, you know, physical attributes. So maybe he be chirping and talking big when it comes to the team in the locker room. And maybe it's just, it's, you know, maybe that's an issue. I don't know. But yeah,
you know
it's
what?
incredible that he's not there.
I think he's been in, I can't tell you how many stops since Sacramento with no issues. So if that's the issue, people are just holding on to like old narratives, which happens a lot, you know? And I'm
Yeah,
not saying I want
listen.
him on the team, but I'm just saying if that's the reason he's not on the team, I think people need like what's going on now?
Right. And who was the
Achilles?
no,
Wasn't
I
his
can't.
Achilles? Wasn't his injury an Achilles injury?
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
He was an
Mhm.
Achilles,
Yeah.
right.
I
So
guess
he
maybe
doesn't have the
that's
explosiveness anymore. That's fine.
No
But
doubt
for
about
the
it.
Knicks,
Mhm.
we don't need that. We just need somebody who can find his way around the rim down low and can play some defense. And I think he could fit that mold. But you know, another guy who I think could fit that mold, and I don't know if he's on a team right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys know.
Mhm.
Hold on, let me. Now I can't. I'm trying to think of his name. He was the Duke big. That remember he was Thomas. You were big on him. Big guy. He came out in the same year
Bagley?
as Cat.
Or
No, same year as
oh,
Cat.
you're not talking
That
about Mace?
no.
Mason
I'm
Plumlee?
talking about the
Other Bob Plumlee?
no. Dark skinned guy, light skin. He's a light skinned dude. He came out and he's only an interior type
Oh,
scorer.
Okafor.
Okafor, right?
Real.
Where's
Mm.
Okafor? Where is Okafor? Because
He
that's
got
a
cut
guy.
at the preseason.
He
got
did
cut.
get cut. I remember he
Yeah,
got
he
cut in the
did.
preseason. So I'm wondering where he is because that's a guy that I think could help the Knicks a little. He's not great on defense, but offensively, he down low, he knows how to handle the basketball. And we're not asking for a guy like that who's been cut. He's been humbled already. You don't have to worry about him chirping. He just wants to be on a team. You know, give him 4 or 5 minutes a game, whatever you need from him, just to give us a little different look and makes the other team have to play some defense on our big. So,
Right.
I mean, something like that could work.
Can I ask y'all a question? You know, because again, you know, what like in shot chart wise, can you tell me if the Knicks are shooting a lot of mid range jump shots? Because I think they are. I'm not sure because they have those type of guys.
Mid-range jump shots.
Because Randall
I don't
shoots a
think
lot of
it's
middies.
no.
Doesn't
He's
he?
the only
No, he's
one
not
though.
shooting them
It's,
anymore. No, Kemba
yeah,
shoots them.
no, nah.
Nah.
Kimba's been
Okay.
shooting a lot of threes, man. It's been
I'm just
3 or
asking
nothing
that.
with this team.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
okay,
been
okay.
3 or nothing with this team. That's
All right.
that's a symptom of Tibbs'
That's
new
good, though.
offense.
It's good.
It may be, but you know what? 2s are easier to hit than 3s sometimes.
Well,
And, you
middies
know,
are
a guy
not an
who's
efficient shot, so that's the only reason why.
Right.
But they also do make you have to respect both levels. You know, like the paint and then the 3-point line. So if a guy's beating
Right.
you at the middle, you're probably going to even give up that, or he's got step back action for you. So I mean, it helps. You know, I don't know, because I was looking at Golden State shot chart the other night. They were showing some on TV, and I was like, wow. You know, their effective field goal percentage was like 56%, and they make everything outside the 3-point line.
That's why
And,
they're
I mean,
probably the worst team to compare these Knicks to.
I get it.
Right,
I
right,
get it.
right,
I
right.
get it. I get it. But
You know,
I
they're
get-
only the best team in the league, Thomas. I'm just saying.
You know how I feel
Right,
about them.
right,
being
right,
proclaimed as the
right.
best team in the league after 11 games. You know how I feel about
Right.
that.
I hear you,
Okay.
but Golden State is there, B. Don't be surprised if Golden State wins this whole thing. It's
No,
just,
no
it is
chance.
what it is.
No chance. No chance. I
Oh,
will
really?
say that.
Wow.
We're gonna
Record
talk
that.
after this. We're
Put
gonna
that.
talk after this.
Okay. No chance, because they don't have enough
Mind
of a
you,
defensive presence for me in the
don't
interior.
worry. Don't
They
worry.
they,
Don't forget.
they one of the top defensive teams in the league. And through
But I mean-
11 games now. Through 11 games.
11 games. Nah, I can't argue with that. But I'm saying when we get to the playoffs, it's gonna look a little different. And I
Yeah,
think
but
that
don't
a
forget.
lot of those numbers that look good in the regular season, when you get to the playoffs, i.e., Knicks defense ranking last year, against the Hawks, you know, they weren't able to deal with that in between. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
But I
Right.
think part of that
but I
also
ain't gonna argue with what they got right now, though, for real. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think also last year part of it was that there was no other options for Randall. And hopefully this year, if we get there, there will be other options.
Big difference. Big difference.
Yeah,
you're right.
no. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I think that's it's a long season still, but you know, as long as they have some time to work, like Tibbs, you know, I'm gonna go back to this once again because these are the little things that I start to look at and I say, I look at all the other things that change. Sim made good points about chemistry. last night, and how the starting unit doesn't have a lot of chemistry because you got two new players. Randall's, they don't know where to be, all this stuff, and the bench. They played together for 2 years now. Like, this is the second year of that consecutively, and they're comfortable. It's the same guys, and all that matters to me. The other thing that I look at is the fact that we're not getting practices. I think Tibbs got a lot of practices last year, and they were able to work on a lot of different things. There was more time spaced out in between games, maybe because of the fact that it was a condensed season a little bit. But now we're back to the regular scheduled programming, and they're just not getting those practices. I think those practices help Tibbs. So we'll see what happens. But what I wanted to do now is I kind of wanted to take a look at Monday's matchup and get your opinions on what's going on. So let's see what we got going on here, folks. So next up for the Knicks is the oh no, hold on, guys. Sorry. Apologize. Give me 1 second. Well, you know what?
I watched the Pacers.
I know you watched the Pacers, so this is going to be interesting. And Pudge Nice says Tibbs is trash. Yeah, no, man. I hope.
Is that a picture of Tibbs on his logo?
Yeah, man. Listen. Listen. Let's. You got to give Pudge Nice a pass, man, because he believes in Tibbs. So no, that's Leon Rose, by the way.
Oh, Leon Rose. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I was a little late to the broadcast today, to the podcast, because someone, Mr. Feet Sports over there, was talking my ear off about. Well, you slowed me up, but that's okay. All right, we're back. So the next matchup for the Knicks is the Knicks versus the Pacers on Monday. And these are the three matchups that I think they may not be the most important matchups. There could be other matchups that develop out of this game, but these are the ones that I think we need to focus on, especially if Tibbs is not making any changes. So right now it is going to be, you would think it's going to be Kemba in the starting lineup. So I think Kemba versus Malcolm Brogdon is going to be a big one. So I'm going to say, let's start off with Steph. What do you think about the matchup between Kemba and Malcolm Brogdon?
I think Brogdon wins it, period. I listen, he's taller. He's more physical. He's a good defender. Kemba does not have the pop that he usually has. And again, the game he had last game against Charlotte, let's see if that's the Kemba we're going to see going forward. I wouldn't put my money on it. I think the Kemba we've seen up to this point is the Kemba we're going to see. There's going to be some games where he has really good shooting nights, where he's able to get into the key and play make. And there's going to be games where he's just not going to shoot the ball well and is unplayable. If we get the Kemba from last night, you could say it'll be an even matchup. If we get the Kemba that we've seen so far, Brogdon wins.
Mr. Feet Sports, what do you think about that matchup?
I'll tell you, if Brogdon's healthy, he crushes him. And I think Brogdon's been in and out. I think it's a hammy injury. So something to keep on, on the radar. But I'll be, and this one's gonna hurt. I think TJ McConnell crushes Kemba. I think TJ McConnell's been playing some really good basketball. He's excellent with steals. His physicality is amazing. There's a lot of it's just not a good matchup for them. Not a good matchup at all. Brogdon, everything the Queen said is exactly right. Brogdon would obliterate him. But McConnell plays great, gets everybody involved, attacks the rim, does all of the things that you need to do to help your team as a bench player, but also as a starter in a pinch. So, yeah, I definitely, I mean, that's a loss right there, given.
Yeah. I agree with both of you. I think Brogdon definitely has the edge in this matchup, no matter what what we get out of Kimba. If Kimba comes out here and decides to light it up again, which I don't think he will, because I think he's going to be going up against a much more impactful matchup on the defensive end. We know Charlotte is not one of the great defensive teams out there, but Indiana has some good defensive players at certain positions. So that can definitely affect some of these matchups. And that's the worst one for Kimba, because Malcolm Brogdon gets after it. So,
oh yeah,
and TJ McConnell's not bad at that either. What were you going to say, Thomas?
I'll say this too. Even if he scores well, he's going to give up all those points. It doesn't matter. Like Queen said, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And now I'll tell you what, if Rose is starting, that's a better matchup now. That's not a dead giveaway at all. Because Rose, I mean, he's gonna compete. So Brogdon's gonna have a tough night. And he's not gonna get easy buckets. And he's gonna, he's gonna get in there and grab a few steals and do a few things. So like Queen said, I think Rose starting is an excellent idea. I didn't think about that at first, but I think that's definitely preferred over quickly.
Right.
Well,
and it may weaken the
okay
second unit a little bit, but I think at this point we got to try something.
I mean, I'm okay either way, because the other thing is, even if Rose was to be put into the starting lineup, my controversial part of that is I don't want Kimba being the first point guard off the bench. I want Quickly to be the first point guard off the bench with that bench mob first. You could bring Kimba in later, but as long as Quickly still has that role, I'm okay with that. So we'll see. Real quick, just want to say salute. Legion of Knicks podcast. What's up, Guillermo? Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for tuning in. So now we've come to this matchup. If you asked me about this a couple games ago, I'm like, yeah, this is a really good matchup, and I think it could go either way. But now I'm really concerned about what we're seeing from RJ, and that's the RJ Barrett versus Chris Duarte matchup. Who I will say, I've noticed Duarte has cooled off a little bit, but I think he still is giving you the other things that we've been noticing from him. He's not lights out like he was earlier, and that's probably because, which is normal to expect, some of these players for Indiana have gotten back and they're healthy. Karis LeVert was back into his old form, but I know Karis has been hurt recently. He's also had a hammy issue. So, these are the things that will affect Duarte's play. But now that he is kind of being, pressed back into that lineup and given more time, I think we'll see Duarte do some good things out there again, which means more issues for RJ to deal with. So I hope RJ gets it back on Monday, but we'll see. So what do you think about that matchup, Queen?
I think RJ can win it. I say can because, again, which RJ are we getting? If we're getting the RJ in New Orleans and when he was in that short stretch where he was, it's not even, sometimes you hit shots, sometimes you don't. But what I liked was that he was very aggressive and he would go get the bucket, right? If we get that RJ, he could definitely win. But this is the thing. RJ's in a position where he has to score and he has to defend. Everybody's in that position, but he's in it the most. Now he's going to have to score and he's going to have to guard Duarte, who can shoot the three with range. So you don't know when he's going to pull up, but he can also get in the key. I think people underestimate that about him, that drive and taking a few steps in. So he's going to be chasing him around all night, and you expect him to score. It's going to be a tough night for him, but he can win it. He can, but it's going to take a lot of work.
No, yeah, I agree. What say you, Feet Sports?
Now, you know how I feel about the Duarte Partey. So
I know.
But I'll tell you this. I agree with the Queen again. RJ can win it, should win it because of his physicality for me. Duarte, I watch Duarte a lot. Does everything you want from a player. Remember, he's 24, so he should be doing those things. Okay, so this is all should be expected. But I think sometimes his lack of bulk shows up, and that's where you can exploit him. So you can beat him with all things that RJ does well, are all things that Duarte has trouble with. So, these are things that, need to be taken into account. And I think if they can, get those things under wraps, that they'll be all right. I think Duarte, though, is going to shoot 3 ball. And I think that's going to be something to think about. I think Duarte can pass the ball. I think Duarte can defend. So again, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But I think RJ should win the matchup, and if he can rely and impose his will, which is something he hasn't been doing, then I think if he can turn it on for the night. As a matter of fact, I think it's a matchup the Knicks need to try to exploit. And if he can, then I think I think actually that will be one of their keys to winning the game, is being able to take advantage at that spot, because they don't have many advantages on the floor in the matchups, the one-to-one matchups, and the next one's going to be even worse. So with Mitchell and Miles, so
right,
but they can win that too. They can win that one too in some ways.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm a Knicks fan. I'm focused on my Knicks. So sometimes I'm not always as present when it comes to these other teams. But I do try to do my little research here and there, especially when I'm going to be thinking about a matchup for the Knicks and what's going on. And as I said, when I said that Chris Duarte has cooled off a little bit, his last game, he had 11 points in 31 minutes.
5 of 14.
And yeah, he was 5 of 14. and the game before that, he had 6 points in 21 minutes. And the game before that, he had 15 points in 31 and 9 points in 26. Compared to, he had a stretch of, 10, 18, 12, 19, 14, 18, 19, 15, 27. So he was killing it. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying that this is a time where Duarte's game is a little more pedestrian than what it showed earlier. So maybe this is a really interesting matchup for RJ. Like, they're both having their own set of struggles, if you will. So
RJ
we got
needs
to pay
to
attention to that
as well, man. He's got to oppose as well, man. Like, there's really no reason not to, because that's a matchup he can win because of the way he plays and the way he shoots it. Duarte's not going to be able to guard him at both levels. He's going to have to say, if he's going to drive it, then I'm going to get beat, but I'm not going to give him the 3. Or if he gives him the 3, he's going to drive it and destroy him. So, hopefully the Knicks can find a way. And I think this is perfect, where if you could have Randall and RJ do some DH shows, some dribble handoffs, it would be tremendous, because it would really help them to keep the defense off balance, So.
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah.
And so brings us to my last matchup that I have here, which is, to me, this is a big one. If you're in the Mitchell camp and your team, Mitchell Robinson, this is the one that he needs to win. I don't care what's going on out there in the court. As a basketball player, and for your own sense of pride after what took place the last time they played, Mitchell Robinson needs to limit Mr. Miles Turner. Miles Turner lit him up in the last game. We saw he was 7 of 10 from 3. He had, I think it was 27 points. I may be wrong, but I definitely know he hit 7 threes. Right. So he lit him up. He had Mitch in Nowheresville. Mitch was on an island right there because he was stuck. And like I said, I don't want to blame Mitch for everything. It's either Mitch or it's Tibbs. But something was going on there where Mitch was stuck in between. He wasn't getting out to guard Miles, and he wasn't leaving the paint fully. So something was going on there. And I hope that
do they play drop coverage Knicks with Mitchell?
No. Usually what they do is, I guess at some points, but that's not one of the primary things they do with Mitchell. Usually it's everybody kind of guards the paint area and gives some type of room on the perimeter, right? So it's not just Mitch. Everybody does that. And Mitch and Randall cheat. They cheat a lot. And because of that, they get in a situation where they're both forced to scramble to the perimeter to try to, right, to play some type of defense on a guy. And they're leaving guys wide open for 3-point shots. And that's the reason. Oh, and just to correct, I said something on the NBA report on the NBK network. I mentioned a stat that Sim put up on the shoot around, and I said something about the Knicks last year were giving up 32 points as opposed to 37 points. It was percent. So last year our defensive percentage was 32% against 3-point shooting. This year it's been around 37%. So that's the difference. And this is part of the reason. Like, there's too many guys caught in between that they're not committing, and they're definitely not getting out there fast enough. So if you can't get out there fast enough, you're going to have to commit in some form or fashion, right? So I'm looking for Mitch to not necessarily be too impactful on the offensive end, even though that helps. But I want him to stick with Miles Turner. We've seen Miles Turner as Jekyll and Hyde. Sometimes he's great, sometimes he's bad or not effective, should I say. So Mitch needs to guard Miles Turner. Let the rest of your defense pick up and hold the paint. If guys like Kemba get beat, they get beat. I'd rather you focus on Miles and at least stop him in the first quarter so he's not able to get off to a hot streak. Because if he's not shooting that well, I don't think you have to go as aggressively and guard him on the perimeter. Just pay attention to him early. He won't be in a rhythm, and then you can cheat later. So what do you think about that matchup, Steph?
Miles Turner. Mitchell, now we were talking about Mitchell of last year. I mean, last year he only played 37 games. Or Mitch before he got injured.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he stands a chance. But this Mitch is a little slower. This Mitch just doesn't seem really crisp in his movement. And again, it could be rust, it could be the weight. Miles Turner, for whatever reason, gets really excited when it's time for him to play the Knicks.
Right.
So I think Miles Turner has the edge. He's quicker. He brings Mitch out of the key, less rim protection. Now, what Mitch did the last game, which I didn't like, and I don't know how much of it was scheme or his own decision, is he camped in the key even when he was one pass away from Miles Turner. I mean, they teach you that when you one pass away, you got to be maybe a step off of the guy, the most 2 steps, the most, because he's one pass away, and that'll give you less ground to cover. Mitch was in the key even when it was one pass away. It's just, that's not good.
That's
now
a drop look. Yeah, that's a drop look.
Right. Now, it could have been that he just knew the guard was going to get beat if he didn't do that, and he wanted to be in there already, because our perimeter defense is not great either. But I don't know if that was scheme or not. But if he plays that way, it's going to be the same thing, unless Miles is just off. But he's going to get those shots if Mitch plays it the same way.
Well,
Right.
I think that was definitely a scheme thing because, and even though I didn't watch the game, you only do that as a coach if you don't trust your perimeter guards. You think they're going to get blown by. So that's the main reason why he was probably there for help in some reason. So that's just my assumption, but I'm pretty
Right.
sure that was the reasoning behind it. But
Okay.
Definitely, that's going to get him killed. I agree.
And you might be right, because there was no adjustment after the second, third, fourth, fifth time. So that must have been the scheme.
That's my Tibbs complaint. Like, you're a great defensive coach, but sometimes, like, it's not just toughness. Like, you got to also put your guys in positions to excel from the defensive end schematically. And I think a lot of times
Correct.
that he underemphasizes that aspect of being a great defensive coach. I'm a big believer in his mentality and his approach, but you have to schematically make your adjustments.
In game as well.
Yeah, in game, exactly.
In game.
Exactly.
Mm.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
interject. My fault.
No, I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Do you had anything else you wanted to say on that matchup, Steph?
No, that's all I had to say. And I think Miles Turner gets it. That's why I think we need to start Noel if he's healthy.
Yeah, no, I agree. Feet Sports.
Randall.
Facts. Big facts right there. That's exactly it. And especially this game, start Randall. Because if you don't, Miles Turner's gonna block everything at the rim. So, because you saw he did the Gobert, they made that little thing on Twitter making fun of him. He swatted the W away, and I mean that's just gonna be a little, and it even makes it, and it even is gonna make it makes things difficult for Randall too when Mitchell's in there, because now Randall can only play at the second level. He can't play all the way down in the paint because Miles is always there. And if the big's not going to pull him out there, we got a problem on our hands. So I would say definitely Miles Turner should win this matchup. But if they start Randall, the Knicks can win that matchup. You know what I'm saying? Because Turner can't mess with Randall in space. Randall is, I think it was a DSJ or CP the artist said no handle Randall. I beg to differ a little bit because he got a little in his bag, so I ain't gonna really say he can't handle, but he usually don't have a lot of room to get down and dirty with the handle. So I think Knicks really again. Start Randall, but at the 5, right? Start him at the 5, and it really opens up them from an offensive standpoint, and it helps them also defensively, like where they have to, like they don't have to do things like what they had to do with Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody can cover theirs, and you don't get beat in those matchups where you have that 5 that's stretchy, because everybody's got one guy like that at the 5, even if he's coming off the bench. Everybody's got one of those guys, and all they'll do is insert and boom, 3 stretch, 3 stretch, 2 or 3 of those, and you got to come out and forget it. The rim's done. Right. So I definitely. But I want to also ask: is that not what about the Sabonis element in that too? I think Mitchell's got to deal with both of them, to be honest. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean he does, but I mean for me the big issue there is more of that matchup, because remember, like a key matchup that we're used to seeing, a key matchup that we're used to seeing and probably we're gonna see is Randall versus Sabonis. I mean, they go at it. Cool. They have a really good matchup, but I'm not featuring that matchup because, quite frankly, the first time they played, that matchup wasn't the reason why the Knicks lost. It was this Mitchell Robinson versus Miles Turner matchup that killed us. Good to know. That's the reason why that's the focus in this case. But I appreciate you acknowledging that, because that is definitely, that's going to be the 4th matchup to watch, and then it's going to be the 5th matchup is overall bench versus bench, our bench versus their bench. So
they got a good bench.
I think that they do, but they ain't got our bench. I'm just saying.
They got a good bench though.
They do got a decent bench.
They don't got
when everybody's
bench,
healthy. When everybody's healthy, they see, that's the thing. Indiana's been in trouble just because of the fact that they just can't get everybody healthy. And TJ Warren is on his way back. I don't know when he's coming back. I hope it's not Monday.
January.
I know he's getting close.
January.
Oh,
January.
what?
Okay.
Really? Oh, so then did he have a setback?
No, he hasn't. That's exactly why.
Because they were talking about him being close.
Yeah, he's close, but close is January for him.
Yeah, I don't know. That's not the type of close I'm thinking about.
He must be on your fantasy team.
He is on my fantasy team. He's on all my ILs. I'm hoping.
Wow.
But,
okay.
Yeah, these are definitely great matchups, man. That's good. That's good to see. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that, man. I'm a little concerned. Hold on one second. Let me bring my man in here. He is definitely a great contributor to the Knick community. He's been making his rounds and dropping his knowledge, but also dropping that Knick fandom, because he don't play around. You don't play around. My man Baked Beans in the building. What's going on, brother?
Yo, shout out to the panel. What up, Ron? What up, Steph? What up, Feeks?
What's up?
All right. First, let me apologize to Steph. I changed my name. My name was Beans Douglas at one time, and I came in the show, and I don't want you to feel like I was trolling you. Just at that moment, that's how I was feeling. That's all.
I don't even remember, and it's totally cool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. I got a question for Feats, man.
Yeah, talk.
He said Randall had a great handle, and I'm trying to figure out if we watching the same situations, because down the stretch it looks like he's getting stripped. He's getting the game yesterday. I'm gonna use for example, like when he tried to use his handle, it was 2 the other way.
Yeah. Now here's now. I would say this: Miles Bridges is a tough matchup, though. You see, and that was the reason why last night I think it was so apparent. But you also got to understand, like, where he's at on the floor ain't a lot of room to operate. They were putting him in the corner, on the short corner, and saying, hey, I want you to go do your thing over there. He's got baseline to worry about, and he's left-handed, so everybody's playing him on certain ends. So he's ended up doing fadeaways, things like that, not getting easy shots. And then they're doubling too. So it's like you're playing against 3 people. Double it, take away the inside, on ball, and you got the baseline. So last night he just didn't have a lot of room to operate, and that's an athletic team. So, I mean, I would say in that. Now, normally, if you put him at the top of the key like Queen was talking about, he could work out. And he's got the mid-range. He's got a whole bunch of things in the bag. So he's straight normally. But last night was a tough matchup because Miles Bridges is I don't know, he's different right now. So, I just think, honestly, last night was just, I don't think that's the norm for him. I think he's going to get his.
Okay. Oh, cool. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. But the way I'm feeling, like, because I'm watching him and I see, like, we doing a lot of pick and rolls and he has the mismatch on him, but no matter what, he's still fading away. Like, once you see him go to one spot on the floor, you know he's fading away. Like, once you go to that baseline, it's like, oh, here we go. And it's like, I don't know.
But can I say something?
Sure.
We got to remember Randall is 6'8" with not a lot of hops. So I think part of the fadeaway is trying to create space so he can get his shot off. Like he always has problems with guys with long wingspans because he can't dunk over people. He can't jump over people. And he's only 6'8". So he's undersized at that position. So I think that has something to do with the fadeaway. But I agree. And at least last is a little better than last year where he would fade almost out the gym. I'm like,
He was wetting them, though. You can't
he would just fade like into the stands.
He was wetting them, though. So you couldn't tell him no. He was wetting them,
You ain't lying though. I was like, man, he's fading back.
He got like 2 game winners, and he was sitting in the
right.
I'm gonna say that, and you're right, Steph. That's another thing that I didn't pay attention to that because one of the sneaky things about Randall has been his athleticism. Because Randall over the years, that's one of the reasons why the Lakers drafted him and thought like, oh, we got something special here because he can do different things on the court and he can dunk on you. But Randall has gotten bigger too. It's one thing about getting bigger and how, I would say it's muscle. We see he's definitely, it's solid. It's not like it's bad muscle that he put on bad weight, but it affects, putting on extra body mass does affect you sometimes. It can affect your athleticism. Not all the time, but in some cases it can. And then I guess it's also how you build your body, right? But yeah, he's definitely not the leaper that he was before. He still gets up a little bit, and that's and that's part of his positioning and the way he gets all these rebounds for us. Sometimes when he wants to on plays, he can sky a little bit, but it's not the way it was before. And I think I also attribute that to him also becoming a better offensive player and working on other things with his game. So he's not constantly trying to get into the paint and dunk on people and do all these things. Sometimes maybe we need that. Maybe we need some of that fire from Randall. We see it on spurts, but we don't see it as much.
Similar profile too,
Right. And you know what? Being that I'm bringing it up, I thought about it. Steph has mentioned a lot too that she wants to see Randall get down low and bang more and use his advantages, in the paint. Uncle Fulio was talking about that too, and he hasn't really been doing it. He's setting up too far out, and when it comes to handle Randall, his dribbling, I don't have a problem with him dribbling when he's at the 3-point line and he's trying to break down somebody and get into the lane. The problem is he's been dribbling while he's in the lane and there's other hands around him. He's getting stripped by these little guys So that's the issue. And he's not looking for his teammates. He's moving to the double team is coming, and he's passing out too late. Maybe that's just his the way he sees things. He's just a little bit slow, but regardless, it's been happening all the time. And then he gets frustrated when things.
Damn offensive system. I had to get.
Well, I mean, look, sometimes it's the system, sometimes it's the player, but together it's not working the way it should. So, Beans, now that you're here, I had asked this question of everybody before, and I know you had some things that you had mentioned with trades, but without trades, what do you think that they can do on this Knicks team currently to kind of fix what we got going on? And our next game is against the Pacers. Like before the Pacers game, they're going to have a good practice, hopefully, whether it's today or tomorrow. I don't know. But what do you think they can do to kind of fix some of the things we've seen out there on the court?
Well, the first unit, we got to make changes. He got to shake it up. This is how I feel he should do it. He should pit Fournier. You a professional. You know what I'm saying? You're considered a veteran. You got to know, like, this is for the team. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing against you. You know what I'm saying? You got to pit Fournier on the second unit, and you got to either bring Burks up, or you got to – I'm going to swing for the fences on this one. I want to see Grimes. I wouldn't mind seeing him in the first unit. To keep it a buck. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing him in the first unit. You know what I'm saying? Elevate somebody from the second, and let's go. I
mean, it'd be great. I'm trying to get him in any unit right now, so I don't know.
I remember that was part of our argument earlier. We had that
get him on the bench,
earlier.
Man.
I remember.
But we all know Tibbs is not gonna do that. So it's like, what are we really looking for, knowing what our coach is gonna do? Everybody saying, oh, give him 20, 25 games, 20, 25 games. So it's like, we got another 10 games we got to wait before a change happens?
He ain't going to change. I just want y'all to know this. He ain't going to change. He did this everywhere he's been. But I'm praying he'll start Randall at the 5, and they will save his job. But that's up to him. Because last year in the playoffs, if you started Randall at the 5, they would have been good.
Yeah, definitely. The only way I could see him doing that is if they put their fire on him like they did about Obi last year. They made him play Obi last year through the drought and all that. And we all knew Kevin Knox should have got most of the minutes last year. Right. But because of the upper buffs, they play Obi. It was no problem. Give him that same, his seat got to heat up a little bit or something. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel. Because now he ain't smiling no more. That's what I like to see. Like, be the coach you was. You was getting too friendly. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what
I love this dude, man. I love this dude, man. Oh,
he was, like, in my eyes. Like, did y'all peep yesterday? Did y'all peep yesterday when they pulled Obi with the 3 minutes left? You ain't see how frustrated he was?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, damn, I can't believe it for Randall.
Sometimes it could be misplaced anger sometimes out there on the court. I think he believes. Listen, say what you will, guys, and I'm saying this to all Knicks fans, not us. I'm just like, Tibbs loves Obi. Okay, Tibbs really loves Quickly, but Tibbs loves Obi. He wants Obi to do. That's why he's on Obi for every little thing he does, even if his star player Randall did the same thing multiple times. He's on Obi because he's trying to teach Obi. Randall is what he is, okay? You can only show Randall so much. His game he's been in the league for a while. You know, you can teach him a couple new tricks and maybe he incorporates it. But Obi's a sponge. He's still young. So if you got something you're trying to teach him, now is the time to do it. And I think Tibbs realizes that. So he be screaming at Obi because he was screaming at Obi. Like, he's definitely trying to get Obi to understand what's going wrong and how he can fix it before it becomes a habit. I will say that, a lot of us all have mentioned that last night's game was one of those where it was 3 minutes left, a little over 3 minutes. Don't touch the team. There's no point to bring Randall in at that point. It's 3 minutes. These guys can gut it out for 3 minutes. Don't bring in RJ, who, while, you want to try to bring it home and hopefully they can get some energy out there. But you saw what happened. As soon as he brought in RJ and Randall, Charlotte went off. Everything opened up. You got Miles Bridges out there saying, "Oh, Obi, you want a windmill? Okay, let me show you a windmill." You know, that stuff's not supposed to happen. Like he made it his business. I'm telling you, when Miles Bridges saw Obi go up in windmill, he was like, okay, I'll be there. He was just waiting for his opportunity, and he did it like right after.
As he should.
That's not supposed to happen, man.
But y'all know what else is crazy though?
Yeah.
Hold on, my bad, Fig. The funny part about it is when Randall came back in, it was like everybody knew, like, oh, here goes Hero Ball. And we went down, they went on a 10-1 run in 1 minute. Because Randall, when you see him start wanting to bring the ball up, you know what time it is.
Yeah. I think.
And I'll tell you this, man.
I was going to say real quick, Pete P. You can't win without good passing or defending a point guard and centers that can't score the ball. And I agree with that. That's what I've been saying. I think the Knicks, in order to fix this issue we're currently dealing with, they got to run up and down the court, use the weapons that we got, especially our bench players who are young and athleticism with Obi. Let's get these other teams in transition and move the ball, pass the ball around to get guys good looks. When we play with good ball movement, we usually win the games. And of course, on the defensive end and offense, rebounding is key because there's only so much defense this team can play. They need to out-rebound the other team. Last night, if you look at what happened once again with LaMelo Ball, think about it if we held LaMelo Ball to maybe 5 or 6 rebounds, defensive rebounds, instead of 16. That makes a big difference. So that's one of the things that I think they should focus on. What were you going to say, Feats?
So I was going to say this too, and if you've ever hooped and you've been in a game like that, when you so quickly lose it and get hyped like that, I was like, yo, they got this. They got this. They need to leave these dudes in here. Because when I saw it quickly go, yes, sir, he was like on fire. I was like, I've been, when you coach or you've been in that spot and your players are going off like that, I ride out with them. I'm not taking them out. I'm not doing anything. I'm letting that ride. And if we catch an L on that, we're good. Because at least we was where we were supposed to be. It's not like if I bring in one of those starters, they were playing better, so they're gonna help me make that extra jump. Like it's just it didn't make any sense to me. And I was texting you during the game, Ron, and I was literally predicting the game as it happened. I said the Knicks will win this game if they played a fourth, and they had played the starters almost the whole third quarter. I said, all right, so he's going with the bench in the fourth quarter. Smart. Then he pulls them and he mix matches in the last few minutes. I'm like, why? Why are you doing that? It's not, and it's like he has this obligation to have to do things according to the old book that exists, where you stay with your starters even when they're having a bad game. Nah, that's dead. You don't do that anymore. Like you got to win a game, and you're in New York. First of all, you have to remember you are in New York. There is no place like in New York. If you lose that game, you're gonna get killed. 24 hours of hell. Because you did not do what everybody else could see. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just obvious. And I couldn't understand that. And Beans is right. As soon as you saw Randall get the ball, it was like, all right, here we go. A hero ball, 100%. 100%. And I think that can't happen. That, it's not often that you're going to get guys that are riding that high. And that was a tough game last night. And to pull the rug out from those guys, that bench. I mean, honestly, if I was the bench, I'd be kind of tight. And like you said, Obi, I didn't see that Obi part, but I guess he got mad, like real mad. I didn't see it, but
his face expression said it all. Yo, let me add this one more thing real quick. Yo, I'm so glad we didn't fall for the whole Supermax with Randall. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm glad he took that discount, boy. Word, because that contract is movable.
Yeah. No, I mean it's looking tough right now. I think it'll be okay, but the Knicks need to do the right thing and change a couple things around Randall to make it work, and they'll see a difference. Who are the best centers that we could get via trade? Pete P asks. And you know, well, one of them is a guy that Beans wants on the team, and that's Karl Anthony Towns. That's a situation that, you know, it's not love over there in Minnesota right now. We don't have the greatest situation with a couple guys we got here, so maybe we could work something out. Minnesota is a team that, you know, they're not a team with a whole bunch of draft picks. They've got a couple here and there, but, you know, maybe we could offer them some draft picks, maybe a Knox, maybe, you know, we'd have to move Fournier. We might, if they want him, because remember, you know, one team's trash ain't another team's gold. So we got to see if they'd want him. But I think other smart GMs and smart basketball people can see that something's going on with the Knicks, and maybe Fournier right now is not in the best position. You know, maybe it's not all on Fournier. Maybe the way we're playing is affecting what we're getting from Fournier. So maybe a smart basketball person will say, you know what, maybe we can use this guy. So I don't want to get rid of him, but sometimes in order for the bigger goal, you got to make a move, because we get rid of Fournier and get rid of, you know, Knox and maybe someone else. I don't know who, with draft picks, because it's going to take a lot to get Cat. It's not like they're just going to give Cat to you.
And they're not. Let me.
Cat, I wouldn't give up Cat.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let
me
shut
up. Let me hit Queen.
Let me tell you something. You got to give to get.
Amen.
Nobody is taking our scraps. You trying to get Cat, so that means that they're going to be looking for young players. Why are you going to put Fournier on that team? If Cat's not there, those are a bunch of young cats with Edwards, and, you know, Russell is probably a little older than them, but they're going to look to go young, right?
They want Barrett.
Obi is on the table. IQ is on the table. If you going for Cat, you're going to have to come. It's like when you're trying to trade with somebody in your fantasy league. You're not trying to give up. You could try to give scraps, but ain't nobody taking that, you know, unless you getting like a rookie. This is their second year playing fantasy basketball. Other than that, you're going to have to give. This is what the Knicks have to decide. And I have a show tonight, whoever's available at 8 p.m. with the Fox, and we're going to talk more about this. The Knicks are going to have to decide, what is your winning window, right? Are you trying to win with Randall within the next, I'm not going to say you're going to win a championship in 2 years, but you want to become in that conversation in the next 2 years. If that's what you want to do, all of these young cats, by the time they become somebody you can lean on, that window will have passed. You understand what I'm saying? You're going to have to get more players within Julius Randle's window.
That's right. Amen.
Or reevaluate and say, listen, we signed him to this contract, but, you know, hey, the way the season is going, I kind of see that this is not our guy. We're going to extend our window. Our window is going to work around RJ and these younger guys. If that's your decision, get rid of Randall, bring in somebody young, rock out, let these guys develop over the next 5-6 years. Right now, you got a 2-tier system where you're trying to be a championship contender, but you got all of this young talent that can't help you right now because they're just not there. So the Knicks have to make a decision. And I say all of that to say, if you're going out to get Cat, then you've made that decision that your window is right now within the next 2 years, and you're adding Cat with Randall. And then if you do that, you're going to have to give up some young players, and it's okay. Definitely keep some. You see some of these playoff teams, they have like a young player or two coming off the bench. I'm not saying you got to give up every one of your young players, but you're going to have to give up some of them. So the Knicks have to decide what's our window, and that has to guide the decisions that they're going to make.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
I want to say that was by the Queen. I see why you royalty. I see why they call you the Queen, because that was exactly what the Knicks need to take into consideration, for sure.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking too, Queen. But peep this. Now, if Cat too much, I got a backup. Let's go get that young boy in Phoenix. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to pay him. RJ, but this might hurt though. But this might hurt though, Queen. Peep this. After to get Ayton, I'm giving up Randall. You go to Phoenix. We did what we did. It didn't work. We got Ayton, and then I'm bringing in Bi. That's the only way I'm doing it. If I can't get both of them at the
Man, right
same
there.
time,
That's
then
my
I'm not
guy
doing
right
it.
there.
But if I can
That's
pull
my
it off,
guy.
then I'm going for it.
Right.
Jesus.
Right. Yeah. The only thing I will say about
Oh,
Cat
man.
and Randall, and I think it was State, shout out to State who made this point. Are you going to try to build a championship team around a power forward and a center? Usually you got to guard that, at least one wing player or guard who's one of your best players on the championship team. That's a good point. You tried in Randall for Ayton, so then basically you're saying you're going with RJ's window, right? Like you're not trying to win within the next year or two, because I'm not sure if RJ and whoever is going to be ready in the next year or two. But that's legit as well. That's a legit way to go as well.
I got a big for y'all.
Oh, hold
and
on.
I love
hold on.
Bi. That's my guy.
Yeah,
We can get
Brandon
him.
Ingram.
Yeah.
Brandon Ingram is a good one to have. I mean, if listen, at most Knicks fans, you can't be mad if we somehow were able to flip this around and get DeAndre Ayton and bring in Brandon Ingram, and you lose
idea.
Randall. Hey, I love Randall, but I'm okay.
I think we can pull it off, man. And elevate Obi to that 4 next to Ayton. Just imagine this: Ayton, Obi, Bi, RJ, and whoever we put at point guard. I think we got enough pieces to keep RJ and do that.
You're not gonna keep RJ in no trade, man. I'm telling you right now, off top, you're not gonna keep RJ in no trade, man.
We got a lot of draft picks, man.
Draft picks. Phoenix draft picks. What they doing with those?
No, for Phoenix, remember we giving them Randall.
All right, so who's getting the draft picks? Who's getting the draft picks? New Orleans.
We giving them to for Bi.
All right, I can.
We giving them Fournier. We giving them Fournier.
They don't want Fournier. Nope. No, can't give them
Fournier. Burks.
They ain't taking them either. They ain't taking them
3
either.
first rounds and 4 second rounders.
3. So 7 picks. 7 picks.
Listen, we gotta do what we gotta do.
Yeah, let me ask you a question: is Bi an expiring contract or not? Or is he a restricted
free agent? I think he like in his second year of his rookie extension.
No. He ain't going no. He's not for that. No, Barrett's going. Barrett's going, bro. Barrett's gone. Barrett's gone.
But still, remember, we still got the rookies. I love these rookies. I'm gonna keep it 1,000. I love these rookies.
I do too, but it's gonna take them a long time to pop.
You think so? You don't think Grimes can get in there right now and contribute?
Yep.
No, but no. There's a difference. Can he contribute? Yes, he can contribute. But that's what I'm trying to say. What's your range of winning? If it's 6 years down the line, then yeah, rock with him.
You don't need no role players. You got those. You can get those easy. But I'm gonna say this too. I got a center for y'all. Volusiunas. Now, here's the thing, Jonas.
New Orleans.
Yes. Now, here's the thing. Okay. He does shoot the 3 ball, and he shoots it pretty well. He can get out to the perimeter. He's a lot more mobile than you would think. He's a monster physically on the glass, which I think is something that I think Mitchell can do, but I think the look of it is different when you have a big that can go outside and still do that. Because it's like, imagine Mitchell Robinson with the ability to shoot the 3 ball. That's what Volusiunas is. So, and I think he might be, I don't know, I got to look on Spot Track to see where he's at with his contract, but I think he's a guy that would be able to be targeted in a trade because they're looking at Jackson Hayes. They're looking to be athletic and run, and they have those guys kind of set already over there. Herbert Jones. They got a lot of long, tall guys that can run the ball, run the floor, and still play the interior and still shoot it. Jackson Hayes shooting the 3 ball now. So I mean, I'm thinking Volusiunas is not a part, like Queen was saying, of their window. Volusiunas is not a part of their window. He was just a trade asset that I think they were trying to accumulate and probably flip. And that's where I also think the Knicks. And I had this conversation with Ron last year about Randall. And exactly what the Queen said. We argued about this because I said they should trade him last year. One of the things I've always learned, you sell high on an asset if you don't think that asset is going to be or can be the foundational piece. And it's really hard for Randall. It's really hard for me to look at Randall as the number 1 guy on a championship team.
Yeah, I
It's just hard
understand
for me to
that,
see.
and the reason why we went back and forth last year is you wanted to do this in the middle of the season when Randall was playing incredible.
I
So
said
you
right
were not one
at
of
the
those
trade
people.
deadline.
It wasn't like Randall had that bad playoff series and we were like, oh boy, no. You wanted him gone when he was at his best. And I thought that wasn't being that. It's not like we had Randall for a bunch of years at his best. We don't know what we were going to get from Randall long term. We saw it last year. We saw what the playoffs was. And then this year, you can't say we know for certain that Randall's never going to duplicate what he did before. Right now,
he will never be the one. I can say this for certain. He will never be the number one on a championship contending team. Never.
So you're saying that you feel like he's peaked already and that he's not going to get any better than he is right now. And that's where we disagree. I think he will. I think he will get better. I think he started to peak slower. Like what he did last year, other guys have done, sooner than that. So I still think he has a way to grow. But my other thing is he doesn't have to be a number one. He could be a number two. It's not like we paying him $40-45 million. There's a lot of number twos making what he's making. So if we bring in a number one and he's a number two, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I don't know how he functions as a number two. I don't know how he functions as a number two.
He's been a number two for many years.
No, but he likes number one.
Three.
He's in love with number one volume. He's not going to get that on a championship team. He gets tons of looks.
You don't know that.
Well, he's not even taking the looks he's getting.
I say that you don't know that because
to me, he's passing too much. If you ask me.
Yeah. So, and then I was also saying,
hold on. I say that because of the fact that what if we had
Durant,
Kyle Lowry here? What if we had Chris Paul here? Who they are, number ones in their own right. They defer because of the way they play basketball. What if you had one of those guys here moving the ball, getting Randall his spots? You know how much better we'd see Randall out there if he had a guy like that out here? We don't have a ball orchestrator. We don't got that right now.
I mean, you back?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
You kind of was buffering for a little bit.
Yeah,
but
I'm sorry.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
I agree with you. You need another alpha. You can't surround Randall with the guys you're surrounding him with now in that starting unit. You need an alpha that's going to be like, nah, not this time around. You go on down there. I got this. And we don't have that.
Yeah, know what else?
Sorry, my fat. Go on, man.
No, I was going to say, it's not really with the game with Randall. It's the mental. Like, the way he's looking, I think it's just mental with Randall. And it started, I'm not gonna lie, when I seen it started, when RJ got that 35 and we won, it was like he was like, you know what, let me show them who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's all in his mental. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I agree with, I don't think he'll never be a number one option on a championship team. You know what I'm saying? But he can be a number two, number three option. Definitely. But number one, nah.
Right. That's a good point. I'm not going to argue with that.
I say sell high on an asset that had a season like he had last year. Let's say like he said, you could get a potential young star that fits better into the window of multiple players on your team. If you sell a guy like that. At that point that you sell him at. That's our only argument. And again, we went back and forth for a minute on it. And that's my guy. Ron's my guy. So, but all I'm saying is that we can't act like Randall is that dude.
Not expendable.
He is that dude for us right now. Yes.
I don't think anybody we
that
have
dude
right now. Listen.
And that's the thing. So the question is where are you going? That's the question. So my fault.
Right. No, you're fine. If Randall is expendable, then everybody on this roster is expendable. Because this is the thing with RJ. Everybody is talking about where his ceiling is going to be. We don't know that. We don't know that. There's many guys who started off with good first, second, third years and leveled off at some point. And I always mention Jeff Green out of Georgetown. So if the Knicks
Jeff got hurt though.
Okay. But I remember there was years. Yeah, he had the heart condition. There was years where people were like, "This guy has the skill set. This guy
He
has
was the
the
truth.
skill set, but
He was the
mentally,
truth.
he's just not being aggressive enough." And that's what
Yep.
I'm seeing in RJ. He has the skill set. His skill set is developing. Some days he's aggressive, some days he's not. He's still young. Don't get me wrong. But the point I'm trying to make is when a trade comes across the Knicks desk, you got to evaluate it. I don't think we're in any position just from the straight to say this person is untouchable. You got to at least evaluate it. And if you say, nah, this is not good enough, I'm a pass, that's fine. But I don't think we have anybody on this roster where we're going to say we're not even going to consider a trade that comes across our desk.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
100%.
I mean, it is what it is, guys. And I think that before I trade, look, if there's 3 people on this team that I don't, well, Rose is not, he's not going in. He's not even being mentioned. If there's 3 people on this team that I don't want to go anywhere, it's RJ. It's Obi, and it's Quickly. Those are the guys I want to keep here, right? If you tell me, Ron. I know.
If we're gonna upgrade, we're not keeping Obi and IQ. If you
I know,
upgrade,
I know,
and I'm not keeping them over Randall. You don't. We get so enamored over what a player might be that we're overlooking what a player was. Now, look, Randall, with all of he's my favorite player on the Knicks, but I criticize him all the time. He's clunky. He's inefficient. He makes boneheaded decisions. But it's not easy to carry a team like he did last year for the entire season. And how many people become second team all NBA? Now, I'm not saying he's untradeable, but what I'm saying is it's hard to be the number one guy game in and game out when people are gunning for you. Do we know if RJ can do that? Do we know if Obi can do that? I'm not saying they can't, but we don't know that. So if you're going to trade
in
Randall,
New York,
I'm not in New York. I'm not saying he's untradeable, but I'm saying think long and hard, when that trade comes across your desk, because it's not easy to do. And in the playoffs, he was a deer in headlight. That was some of it. But some of it was not having the teammates that could play off of him once a team finally keys in on you for an entire series.
Right. No, I agree with that. But my whole thing is we're talking right now about making these are blockbuster moves. So I'm not necessarily in the mindset that we need a blockbuster move. I'm in the mindset that we need better moves that fit our team. Okay. They don't have to be blockbusters.
Gotcha.
So we can keep some of our core by surrounding them with better people. Maybe even if you said we got to trade Randall, okay. But who's going to come in that we can get with Randall and maybe a pick or 2 or whatever we do? Is there a package deal where we get a nice stud player that fits us better, is more of a ball mover, buys into the team thing a little better than Randall does? Not that he doesn't, but I'm saying better than him and can help us. And we have to move Mitch because I think that he's a piece for us. He's a piece that we can use. He's still valuable, and we need to get something back that fits us a little better, especially if we've got Noel. They're like clones of each other, and Noel gives you one thing, Mitch gives you another. So one of those guys would have to go, and no one wants Noel. He's older. They want Mitch. So we have to look at it that way.
Right.
And I don't know what that trade is yet, but we'll see. Right. As things go, December 15th, all that stuff, we're gonna start seeing the rumors, and it's gonna be created by our New York Knicks media. They're gonna be putting all types of crazy stuff out there. It's gonna come hard and heavy. So we'll see what happens with that. But you know what? I want to kind of wrap up because it is starting to rain out here. I don't know. It felt like it was coming down heavy. My picture was getting a little fuzzy. So let me go around and get everybody's last words. Let me start with Mr. Feet Sports over there. We'll go Beans and then we'll go Steph. So Feets, anything you want to talk about? Your last thoughts on this Knicks team, what you expect maybe, let's say on Monday night, and then if you got anything going on personally you want to plug, shout out, feel free.
I would just say that in order for that team to make the Knicks to make the next jump, there's going to have to be some schematic changes. I think he's also going to have to let the starters get their feelings hurt, because what happens is that team needs to know that if you don't play well, you're not going to be able to get yours. So if every
Right.
guy is fighting for theirs, it creates a more competitive environment, and that's what Tibbs is all about. But I think also that's where the starters, I think, maybe have a sense of complacency. And I think Fournier, I think he wants it. And that's one of the things with Fournier I worry about is like he's kind of been that guy since the beginning of his career. He's tough, but he's not tough. So it's like he thinks he's good enough where he deserves to get his. And I think that type of mentality is dangerous on this team and in this city. You know, in New York, if you want it to play in New York, you have to be extremely mentally tough. You have to be able to fight for everything that's yours because that's what New Yorkers do. So in order to be respected, in order for this team to take that jump, it can't just be a show. This is the moment of the season, and I know it's early, but for me, and I was saying this to Ron, I said, if they lose these next few games, it could send them in a bad direction because these are tough games, but if they aren't able to schematically adjust themselves mentally, the guys may not be able to recover easily. It may take a lot for them to recover. And I think the Knicks have the potential to be good, but everybody saw what you did the first few games. They've made their adjustments. Your turn. What you got? And that's really what it's about right now. What adjustments are you going to make to allow? Because this is basically the playoffs against the Hawks, rearing their head, and now everybody wants to see if Tibbs is going to continue to beat his head against the wall and do the same thing. And that's really what it comes down to now. Because with the Hawks, they were like, oh, well, we can't. All right, this is stopped. Well, what are we going to do about it? Nothing. And you just got beat. Now they're saying the same thing. Okay, you got a guard that can't guard. You got a 2 guard that can't guard. You got a 3 that's young. You got a 4 that has all the pressure in the world on him, and you got a 5 that doesn't fit. Those are problems, and the hope is that now schematically, as an organization, 1, you know where you're going to move. 2, schematically, what are you going to adjust in order to help this team? And then, are you going to tell these guys as a coach, yo, you got to fight for yours. You're not getting no handouts. It's just that simple. So, yo, Kemba, I don't care who you are. You won your $8 million. You could ride that pine as bad as and Deuce will play. Let Deuce play, because he's more helpful to you right now. He's more helpful to you than Kemba is. Kemba gonna give you 21 and give up 23. I mean, Deuce can do that. Deuce will probably not do that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, so the question now, those veteran guys are gonna have to show why they deserve to be a guy in New York. And in New York, it's completely different. It's completely different than any other place in the country. It's not LA's close, but it ain't New York. So New York, it doesn't matter who you are. As great as you are, if you have 2 bad games, you're at the bottom. And every night, Randall's having to deal with that. So, hope is they figure it out.
Yeah.
Beans. Oh, and hold on 1 second. Feet Sports. Do you want to plug anything? Anything you got going on?
All right, so I'm trying to do some fantasy sports, fantasy football stuff going for week 10. So at Feet Sports, and I have the YouTube channel. That's out there too. So I will. I'll see if I can get that to Ron, and he'll put that out there for y'all. But just if you need week 10 advice on players, I'll be live streaming at about 7, I think, tomorrow morning, or 7 or 6 in the morning. I'm an early bird, and I mean, it'll be up there. Y'all can look at it right before your games, and hopefully it'll be helpful to you. I go division by division. So
Yep. Definitely check him out, man. He got some strong opinions about stuff, but he's also very, very analytical, very factual. He does the research. sometimes he drives me crazy because he's such a freaking sports nut, man. He just it's too much X's and O's and all this stuff he's telling me. I'm like, come on, man.
I got evaluations
So,
for a 16U team coming up in like an hour.
nah, B. I'm good, B. That's okay. Hold on to that. But yeah, definitely. Well, let me see what you got going on. What's the last words, Beans? What you think?
All right. I'm gonna say the plugs for last, man. First and foremost, man, I just want to say I think Randall is not a leader of men. I don't think he's a leader of men on this team. I want to see better energy from our starters because they the one that set it off. I hate when the second unit feel like got to come in and save us. That's whack. What else I want to say about this team? Tibbs, he need to switch up the defensive scheme. This is not working. This is not last year. We do not have the same personnel, obviously. I don't understand how he gonna get them to hustle and do all that. They should be doing that on their own. That's what get me tight. You know what I'm saying? Like they not even hustling out there. They not like it's just a disgrace, man. But I know we can get better. I still feel we can get better. And I just hope it don't cost Tibbs his job. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, let's go. I hope we can get back on the right track. We ain't got a game until Monday. So this weekend gonna be kind of slow. Hope to catch y'all shows. If I do catch you, I'm gonna try to jump on. I want to shout out Queen's Court. Thank you, Queen.
Appreciate
I want to
you.
shout out my boys, still Knicks fans. You know how we do, Ron. Shout out the Feats. I want to give a special shout out to my man, Uncle Freezy, Blorange Tears. We in the building, man. Get them likes up, man. Y'all know how we do, man. You catch me over there morning, night, whenever. You know what I mean? Shout out Uncle Freezy, man. I see you, man. But y'all have a blessed day. Queen, I'm gonna cut your show tonight. Hopefully I can get an extended invite. But if not, still love the content.
Of course. Anytime you want to come on the Queen's Court, you could come on.
All right, cool, y'all. Y'all have a good one.
All right.
Thank you, Beans. Thank you. Queen.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks for the invite. This has been good. Get that energy off that I had pent up from last night's game because I wasn't on the post game. So I appreciate you. Listen, I'm still rocking with the Knicks. And I think that the front office is monitoring the situation. I don't think we're going to stick with this team if it's not working. But we putting a lot of Tibbs is getting a lot of smoke. The front office constructed this team, and you cannot tell me that they asked Thibodeau about Kemba and Fournier, and he said, "Yeah, I think we'll be all right with those two." I don't know. I think that he probably, definitely voiced his reservations about it, but as a team player said, I think I can make it work because neither one of these guys are Tibbs type of guys, in my opinion. Fournier maybe a little more so, but I'm still rocking with the Knicks. I still think they're going to make necessary changes, and I'm okay with playing the rookie some. I don't think we can count on them game in and game out, but I'm okay with giving McBride and Grimes some minutes.
Yeah, no, that works. That works. Anything you want to plug, Queen?
Oh, yes. So tonight, me and Stephen Fox is doing a special Queen's Court on the Nothing But Knicks channel at 8:00 today. So we're going to review the first 13 games, and we'll talk about Tibbs, the front office, roster construction, the players, team, offense and defense. And then Queen's Court is going to be Tuesday at 8:30 because the Knicks play Monday. They play Indiana, and Tiffy Beeman is going to be on that show. And State is going to be on that show as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Yes.
A show with State is always interesting. He keeps it spicy.
Yeah, for sure.
And definitely salute to my main man, Hard Will, from the For I Love the Game podcast. They got a great show over there. It's Hard Will. It's my man Worldwide L and Project Nerd HQ. So definitely, and looks like Hardwell's extending that invite, Queen. Wants you to come on the show.
Listen, DM me. Let me know when you guys are on. My schedule is pretty flexible. I would love to be on.
Yeah, Hardwell. I don't know if you on Twitter. I know Worldwide Well is and Project Nerd HQ is, but if you on Twitter, you can find that the Queen's Court on Twitter, and definitely reach out, send her a message, man. If you need me to connect you, just holler at me. I can do that. But yeah, man, definitely salute to you guys. As I mentioned in the past, guys, For Our Love of the Game is a great show. These three guys, they have a camaraderie. They're all from like Fall Rockaway. They got a nice little network, a mix over there. I call them they're like the old school house party connection where you got Gina and Pam and Martin Lawrence and all these people that all went to school together or grew up in the same neighborhood in real life. They got all this whole connection of stars over there. Good people. And this show is not just about Knicks basketball. It's also about they have R&B stuff on there. They got hip hop stuff. They're eclectic bunch over there. They talk about boxing. So you get a little bit of everything over there. It's a real cool show. They're definitely great guys, and they've showed me mad love and showed John mad love. So appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks as always to all you guys for tuning in and showing love and support. I know Pudge said that this is a good time slot for me. Well, I kind of like this slot because there's not a lot of other shows on, so we can all support each other. But we'll keep it going, man. We'll keep it going and see where we take this. I want to be able to get back to my momentum changes segment, but I'm only doing that when the Knicks win. So past couple times I haven't been doing my momentum changes. So we got to get it together, Knicks. Come on, let's go. Anyway, so thank you as always, and continue to support. We just had our first show on the MBK network. Yes. It's the NBA Report. So that aired last Thursday. If you haven't checked that out, please, go, check that out, and like and subscribe to the Nothing But Knicks network. And obviously, if you like the show, give us a thumbs up. Maybe put a comment in the show. Tell us what you like. If there's something you want to see or anything we can improve on, we're definitely here to do that. Obviously, we're Knicks fans, so we may not be the best at giving you takes about other teams, so we try to be as impartial as possible. But we are Knicks fans, so bear with us, okay? We're not hating on anybody else's team. We just want to make sure that everybody knows Knicks is priority. And also, as the Queen said, her show is coming on next Tuesday at 8:30 because the Knicks are playing Monday night. It's the same goes for our Still Knicks fan show that we are recording. It's going to be pre-recorded on Monday night, but it will air right after the Queen's Court on Tuesday. So tune into that. You get to see, me and my co-host John once again. And so we're just going to keep going out there and trying to give you guys more and more content. I thank you all for tuning in. Thank you. Special shout out to Stafford Dons. Shout out to Feet Sports, my man Thomas. We're going to chop it up and talk about this later. Baked Beans, thank you for showing up. Appreciate your takes, brother. Steph, as always, salute to you and the Queen's Court and the Queen's Court family. And we're just going to keep coming back with more and more content. I'm going to continue to try to find some good time slots that work, but I won't always do a post game. It has to make sense for me because things are getting a little crazy and busy right now with all these other shows. So, but we'll try to make it happen. So salute to y'all. Take care. I'm out of here, but I'll see you next time.